Welcome, horrible people, to the Horrible Opinions podcast. And as always, I'm your host, Kenny.
I'm here, I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kim.
Who?
And that's Kim. We killed Ryan. And we brought in Kim.
Yeah,
we're bringing... Yeah, Ryan's gone. Farmer's gone. Ryan's gone. We are bringing you our very first of our non-movie projects that we said from the get-go we would eventually do. And we are now doing the first of our episodes on...
Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls. The last of them. The last of thems. The last of us's. Us'ems.
The last of the Gilmore Girls.
Last of the Mohicans.
Last of Us.
Last of Us. The show. We're not doing the game yet. Maybe one day. The show. We're here. Maybe you've heard of it? But, yeah. We're gonna do that. So let's go do that. Fellas and fellady.
Fellady.
Danime. This is your baby.
We're gonna do episodes 1 and 2.
Daniel, we're letting you kind of take lead on this. This is your baby.
This is HBO's Last of Us TV show, which is based on the PlayStation 3 game by Naughty Dog and Sony that came out in 2013, which was directed by Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley. But yeah, and with music by Gustavo Santaolalla. Is that pronounced good?
Look, hey, it sounded great to me. Look, we're very white. If they haven't figured that out by now, our tongues don't work well for other flavors.
Yeah.
So
I played the game when it came out. I probably beat it in 2 sittings, which is something I do with Naughty Dog games, generally.
When's the last time you played it?
When it came out.
Yeah, see, I played the original remastered version that came out on the PS4 in 2014. Mm-hmm. So I haven't touched this property since 2014. There's a sequel that came out, what year was that? 2020? I'm just guessing here. It's a handful of years back, not too far ago, too long ago. I haven't touched that yet, but you've beaten that.
Yeah, I beat that.
And now you've watched much further into the series than we have and done a couple rewatches. And we got Kim here, who has no experience with really games in general. She spooks easy, she cries easy.
I gotta tell you, I cry easy too.
I kind of cry easy in my old age, too.
You know, I played...
So it'll be interesting, because you are, you're very, very familiar with the lore. I remember the general, what happens overall with the game, but I don't remember all the little beats here and there.
It's one of my favorite things.
It is good. I really enjoyed the game. I'm probably going to play the newest remake of it before jumping into the second one, just to refresh myself.
Sure.
Partly because, well, I've got renewed interest because of this show. And like I said, Kim's coming in completely fresh, so we got her here for the, what the hell's going on, I don't understand that moment. And just to make fun of her, she gets scared.
I will mention differences in the game and the show if I think they are interesting.
All right, but don't blow it, because there's a lot of pressure if you get that wrong.
Yeah, I also will not spoil past what you guys have seen, and I will not mention what happens in the sequel game at all.
Okay, so to be clear, up to this point, Kim and I have watched episodes 1 through 3.
Right.
We're only doing 1 and 2.
We're only talking about 1 and 2 right now, yeah.
And for a good reason. So do you want to give us a synopsis? Or a nice lore dump? Or however you want to do it?
I don't know, a synopsis?
I mean, it doesn't have to be the same format as the movies. If you want to do this, give us our main players in the episode or something, and then...
So I guess it's a post-apocalyptic road trip. A hardened guy and a teenage girl. He kind of becomes a father figure for
her. Yeah, sure. So... we get right into it. We start, 2003?
So here's my first thing I'll bring up. First difference between the game. So the game takes place 2013, and they decided to set this 2003. Now, they said it was because he likes things to be in the present, so then when he jumps 20 years into the future, it'd be now, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Versus it being 2033. And he didn't want to deal with cell phones and the internet. Because with the internet, the news of the outbreak would have spread a lot quicker. Like the body that they find in episode 2 when in Jakarta, that has taken place 30 hours ago. has been dead for 30 hours.
Yeah.
So, like, news of that would have spread.
That would have been on my, like, multiple daily looks at Yahoo. Like, that would have been right there. Yeah. I'm okay with that to an extent, but it's not like the internet wasn't readily available then. I was still on dial-up. Hun, did you have high-speed internet in 2003? No?
No, not at all.
It's not the most interesting reason to change it. I've personally come up with a different reason to change it. In 2005, Bush gets super paranoid about the flu and spends $7 billion setting up a federal plan for if something like that were to happen. So I was thinking maybe it wouldn't have been as bad because the plan would have been put in place, even though this isn't the flu, but it's a viral outbreak of sorts.
Well, thank God that happened in real life, so we didn't have any sort of pandemic.
That's a different thing. So then in 2015, Obama establishes the Global Health Security and Biodefense Unit, which is responsible for pandemic preparedness.
Oh, well, thank God that happened.
But that is 2 years after when the game took place, so that wouldn't have happened yet.
Okay, well, thank God all those things did happen, and none of that was ever tampered with, and it worked perfectly,
good thing.
And we never had any pandemics.
I had to do a little research on that. It's a little murky on what actually happened to that.
It's all murky, man.
But yeah, so that's one difference.
That's a big difference.
That I thought was interesting. Anyway,
it is interesting. I thought so. I learned things.
But don't we open in like the 70s or something with Big Head and the guy from The Mummy and a Dracula talking from a Twilight discussing
a Sparkle Dracula.
It's an open discussion with epidemiologists. Is that how you say that?
I feel like that's
talking about viruses and shit that can fuck people up.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Kim nodded, everybody.
Yeah. So this provides us with the context of how a fungus could evolve to do this.
Which, did you look up what he was saying to see if that was accurate? Because I did not, but I'd like to think it makes sense.
It makes sense. I don't know if I didn't look it up. I didn't care that much.
But, so, what he says is basically, like, he's not worried about a regular, like, viral pandemic. Because, yes, we will lose lives, but sooner or later, we always win that battle. You know, because historically, we've had major outbreaks, obviously even recently with COVID that we're still actively dealing with, but we're still actively dealing with the flu and stuff like that too. They all bring their different, issues, but over time we typically get a handle on it and learn to find a way to live with them. And he says in the end we win those battles. With the fungus, so as of the point in time he's talking, a fungus could not survive.
But I think he says like 94 degrees
94
is the temperature that fungus can survive in. And the human body is like 98.6, right?
Yeah, 97, 98. The other epidemiologist, I feel like, I'm not even looking at the word, I'm just throwing out syllables.
He scoffs at him.
He's laughing at him.
This guy's like, but what if the Earth's temperature just were to slightly increase?
And then they'd have a reason to adapt.
Yeah.
Because they need to survive.
But it's a good thing that that's not a thing that's happening. So
yeah, global warming, climate change, it doesn't happen. And then he says, look, that's game over. We lose. All that thing wants to do is infect the next
just
host.
Spread, yeah.
And he goes on, he talks about all the other fungus that take over like ants and stuff, where they literally crawl up through their veins, take over their brain, cause them to hallucinate, make them do what they want. They still have to feed, so they eat on their flesh from the inside. They keep them alive for as long as possible throughout this whole thing, all in the hopes of further spreading their spores. Because that's all nature is. We're all just trying to keep our particular, species of whatever going. It's just, fungus don't fucking care about your
but
fungus nasty.
Ain't no fungus out here recording podcasts,
I mean, there's some fun guys and gals.
Yeah. Fung people.
Yeah, fung people. And we're getting fungy with it. So that's your setup. He says all that stuff, and then we cut to 2003, and that's obviously you're not going to have that kind of thing to start your show and not have that be what actually fucking happens.
How great would it be if that had nothing to do with it?
Nothing. We just like news things. Also, I'd like to talk about how Big Head could totally host one of those shows.
Sure.
His little look backs at the camera and stuff like that. Like, I'm just happy to.
You think he's just like part of the HBO family now, and they just like drag him into anything?
Do you feel like the main cast of this is part of the HBO family? That this is really just a road trip with Game of Thrones
I guess
characters?
that's true, yeah. I kind of forgot he was in Game of Thrones, to be honest.
Pedro?
Yeah.
Oh, man. His head gets turned into a jelly.
That's why he wears that helmet in Star Wars.
This is all over Kim's head because she doesn't know.
I've never seen Game.
She's never seen Game of Thrones. Have you seen The Mummy?
Nope.
Okay, we're gonna watch The Mummy later. Don't worry about that.
Have you seen Twilight?
I've seen Twilight.
All
yeah.
right, then you know the Dracula. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very uncultured.
Yeah. It's okay. We'll get you there. Han, what did you think after this opening setup?
I don't know. I don't really have anything to base it off of. I just kind of went in thinking it was just going to be another one of those like zombie type things. And no, I don't really have much to base it on because I have no knowledge of. I didn't read the synopsis beforehand. All I know is basically what you. I cried in the first episode. I didn't think I was going to, but
Yeah.
we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay, so now we jump from that to 2003, and we get, I'll say, this episode's main character?
Well, it's
or
not.
This half of an episode.
So interestingly, the episode 1 was originally going to be episode 1 and 2, but then they compressed it all down into one episode.
Which was an interesting choice.
Because they wanted to get all the characters in the first episode. But
Yeah,
when I thought the show the first episode would have ended with Sarah's death. Spoiler, she dies.
She dies, and that's when Kim cried. Sarah is our actual show's main character, Joel Miller's daughter. Now, in the first game, I don't recall, we didn't see much of the pre-pandemic stuff at this point, right?
No.
We know about it from lore dumps.
I want to say it starts at night, actually. It starts with him coming home late. And then they have their birthday watching of the movie. She had gotten him the watch. You don't see her get him the watch, but she had done that earlier.
Right, so you don't get a chance to really get attached to her in the game.
I mean, you're playing as her.
Right. But this first part of the episode builds her up so much.
Yeah, it provides a lot of good context and background that the game did not.
Right, and this is going to be something that so far in the 3 episodes we've seen, it's going to be one of those shows where every episode it seems like they're going to make you love a fucking character, and then they're going to fucking take them from
Anytime a character is introduced, don't get too attached. But do get attached.
They do a masterful job of this so far. This is really good writing and great acting. Like right off the bat, I understand why the show is doing this well.
And a lot of the lines are straight taken out of the game.
Which that's fun. I won't remember them.
You say that's fun, but I actually don't like it.
You don't like that?
Because I think I prefer the game's delivery of it.
Oh, well, I mean,
But that's me.
Voice actors, they have to deliver purely on voice.
Yeah.
Actors get to let their body convey it some too. So
it's not bad yet, but later on I feel like it gets forced.
Well, if they try to, if they try to force it in a line just to be like, we said the thing, then that could be bad. But also, if I don't remember the lines...
Like, some of Ellie's stuff later on, I think, is forced and not as good, but it's fine.
What about the sound effects? Like, I remember Kenny had talked about the sound...
The clickers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, at one point, a door is opening and it's creaking in a clicky way. And
is it?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember if that's episode 1 or 2, but it was definitely in there.
That would be a good tease of a clicker. If they had done that. I just didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's definitely before the clickers actually showed up.
Anyway, Joel's a contractor. He is Sarah's father. Sarah is like 14. Early teenager, I'd say.
We were guessing probably middle school to freshman age.
Yeah.
Give or take. And if this takes place in 2003, that's actually the same age we would have been, roughly. We would have been all very close.
Yeah.
Which I thought that made me feel kind of weird.
That's actually, you know what? That's why they did it. That's why they set it back.
Oh. We are the target audience. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, suckered us right in.
Mm-hmm. When I see a picture of Bush in a school, I'm there.
You remember where you were when the world stopped turning?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
I mean, that's not what I was saying, but I do.
Yeah. So yeah, we got Joel, we got Sarah, we got
the Adlers.
We got who?
The Adler thing.
The Adlers.
And
the
you
neighbors.
got Tommy.
And we got Tommy, the brother
Tess.
Well, we don't know where you're at. We're starting right there at the
Oh.
beginning.
I mean, we can go through all the characters if you want.
All the ones that pop up in the first episode?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or even the first two.
First two?
I think I wrote them.
You got our main players.
So you got Joel Miller, Ellie Williams, Tommy Miller, Sarah Miller, Tess, and Marlene, I would say, are the main players.
Yeah.
So Marlene is the leader of the Fireflies, which is a resistance group who are trying to restore democracy. Because right now, in the future, not right now, in the future, Fedra is taken over and declared martial law to try and keep the infection under control.
Right.
Tess is a survivor attached to Joel. Tommy is his brother.
We're all a little attached to Joel.
And Ellie is a girl that they find along the way, right?
Right. Perfect. So, yeah. So, okay, we jumped to 2003. These are our main players. Not all of them are necessarily here yet, but we're following the daughter.
The three for this are Joel, Tommy, and Sarah.
Yes, for this half.
Yeah.
So it's 2003. Nothing's happened yet. Joel, it's his birthday. His daughter has to come and kind of wake him up, even though the alarm's going off right next to him. You see, like, the mom's out of the picture. I don't recall. We don't establish why in the show.
Yeah, they don't never go into it.
Yeah, so who knows? But you kind of get the sense that she's a little more mature for her age. Like, she partly takes care of her dad because he seems to be kind of scattered, working really hard with the construction stuff. He owns his own business, it seems, so he doesn't get paid unless he's doing the work. And as always with any construction thing, when you have to work with other moving parts of other people's businesses, if they're not showing up to do their work, he can't do his work. And it's clearly he's got his mind on all the work all the time. So she kind of picks up the slack around the house. So she's taking care of him in a sense. So she's trying to make him breakfast. She's like, hey, where's the pancake mix? Trying to make him, birthday breakfast. He doesn't even like pancakes. He forgot to buy the mix. This is important. We'll talk about that later.
Mm-hmm.
Because of revelations in episode 2 or possibly...
Start of episode 2.
Start of episode 2. Good little banter there. It seems like they have a pretty good relationship. Tommy shows up.
Tommy shows up to take Joel to work.
Joel's like, well, if those people don't show up, we're going to have to work a double. Sarah's like, hey, on your birthday? Like, essentially, like, he's like, oh, I'll be home by 9. I promise. I'll pick up a cake. Like, I promise.
Mm-hmm.
We get outside. We meet the neighbors.
We meet the Adlers, yeah.
Which is this old couple, or just being a nice little Midwestern style.
Well, it's an old man and his mom, right?
Yeah, because his wife is also there taking care of his mom.
Yeah.
So they're upper middle age. Their mom is Dinosaur.
She's the mom she's the mom of Dinosaur or she's the grandma from Dinosaur.
Yeah. She's about to get thrown into the volcano. Yeah, they're over there eating some sweet biscuits, shoving them into her mouth.
If they had thrown her into the volcano, there wouldn't be a problem later on.
This is true.
Which is why we should throw all our elderly into volcanoes.
Right, because Grandma was still pretty spry.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get that the neighbors are sweet older people, but they want to spend a lot of time with their neighbors, and Joel and Sarah are both like reluctant to do it, but they're raised to be nice, so they're like still being nice. Mm-hmm. And why does Joel say he can't go over and eat the biscuits, hon?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
He's on Atkins. Yeah, that used to be a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, Atkins diet.
What was the Atkins diet? Don't you just like eat meat?
Another diet. I think you buy their food. It's like just one of those things where you subscribe and they send you the meal kit. Now, if this was modern times,
he'd be on paleo.
He'd be on paleo, or he'd have a gluten allergen.
Gluten allergen would come in handy here.
Yeah, those are all the survivors. Yeah, that's why they couldn't do it now.
All 1% of the population that has a gluten allergy.
Yeah, if you don't mess with gluten, you're not going to get infected. Yeah, so she's like, don't worry. Joel's like, hey, don't worry. Sarah will spend all the time you guys want with you guys after she gets home from school. Don't even worry about it. Like, you son of a bitch. She didn't say that, but she gave him the son of a bitch eyes. You set me up. Now, it's important to build this, to show the relationship between, I think, Joel and Sarah, because that's going to inform the relationship in the future once he takes on his surrogate daughter, Ellie.
New daughter.
His new daughter. Now, of course, we'll get to that. It's going to be kind of a reluctant partnership, but you're going to see he knows how to interact with a kid. So that's going to show you like how much he's changed in general because of these hard, what has it been, 20 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
On the truck, there's a bumper sticker that says something about Desert Storm, and that's informing us that Tommy is a veteran.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see the bumper sticker. Or I didn't pay attention to the bumper sticker, but I suck at these little details. So that shows a good reason why he's going to be able to survive in this. He's got some potential training.
Uh-huh.
And Joel just seems like someone who can just get shit done in general, like hard worker.
Yep.
Sarah seems like she's going to do real fine.
She'll be great because she seems smart.
Yeah, she's very, very capable.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to school. We see her sitting in class, and there's a light flashing off of her face. And it's the light reflecting off of one of her classmates. What is it, hon?
It was like a charm bracelet thing.
Oh, do you think that gives her the idea to fix up the watch?
No, because she already stole the money.
Oh, she already
Took
stole
the
the money.
watch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because she's going to go fix his watch for his birthday.
What if she was originally just going to take that money to the arcade?
Hey, look, 2003, arcades probably still exist.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, she steals money when Joel's not in there and grabs his watch out of the thing, and she picks up and holds his pocket knife for some reason. Is that important? Because she kind of runs her finger along the blade. That made Kim uncomfortable.
I don't think can you tell us yet?
I don't think that's important, but it would just draw a parallel to Ellie, because Ellie's really into her pocket knife.
That's kind of what I thought.
But I didn't catch that.
The knives. Yeah. But she takes the money in his watch because she's going to go after school, get it fixed up by a watchmaker. But anyway, the student is over there, and he's shaking his bracelet over and flashing her in the face. Now, Kim and I were discussing it, and what were we thinking? That was potentially maybe trying to say
early sign.
Symptoms.
Yeah. That's a good catch. Or
So
it could be a kid being a dick.
Yeah, or not even that. So the trivia on IMDb states that that's what they're doing there, is they're trying to show him twitching uncontrollably as an early symptom of the cordyceps infection. Now, I don't think anyone would reasonably catch that little tidbit because kids are fidgety in general. You're sitting in school, you're not exactly
staying still. So
I just took that as a kid just being fidgety.
Yeah.
He wasn't intentionally trying to flash her in the face because he wasn't paying attention. He was just over there kind of like bouncing around. Like how, you can be sitting there like jostling your leg up and down.
I'm doing it right now, yeah.
Uh-huh. So that was if that was supposed to be one, I don't think that was a good one. That's all I'm saying. The show does a lot of things right, but I'm calling them out.
Yeah, show sucks. I hear you.
Show sucks. Turn it off. Yeah.
So then school lets out.
Uh-huh.
And she goes over, takes a bus.
Takes a city bus.
The watch place where the guy fixes Joel's watch.
Did you guys think that she was selling the watch?
I don't think it never crossed my mind. I think she took the money as well. Made me think that isn't it cracked too when they showed it?
It's cracked later. It's not cracked when she takes it.
Well, it's not. It's just not working now.
It's just not working.
Oh, okay.
We don't mention why that watch has any importance before then. It might just be a watch that broke, or it could be a memento from something.
Yeah, I would say it has more importance after.
Yeah, it definitely has importance after. So yeah, she takes the money and the watch, and but she also could have taken more money. But they also didn't really imply they were hurting for money that bad. I mean,
I was just curious if anyone would read it that way.
If it had been a pawn shop that also possibly repaired those things, because you don't too often. Maybe you did more then, but you don't too often just see a clock repair shop anymore. I mean, there is one in your hometown still. I'm
pretty sure that's a money laundering front.
Probably. The guy, I've been in there a handful of times, and it looks like he's doing pretty well off for a tiny-ass watch store. Clock's ticking, old man. We're on to you.
So while she's in there, a bunch of fire trucks and police cars and emergency vehicles all roll by, giving little signs that something's up.
And the shop owner says, "Oh, this has been happening all day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going on."
Mm-hmm. And his wife barges in. "Oh, you need to go home, right now."
Yeah, he's closed. We're closed.
And she says something to him in Arabic, which I looked up.
Uh-huh.
So what she says is, "I just got off the phone with my sister. You have no idea what's happening."
And that gets him to kind of, shut up, because at first he's like, "We don't close for, another 4 hours."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he finishes fixing the watch really quick, because it's just a spring and only costs $20. He's like, "No, I'll knock it out."
So I'm going to assume her sister is either in Indonesia or a country next to it, in the region where this news would have spread faster.
It's possible, or she could just be closer to the center of town where it seems like all the shit's going down.
Right, because at this point, there's nothing on the news. Remember, she gets back to the Adlers later on, and nothing's on the news yet. So that's kind of what
in the
I was...
kitchen scene when they're having breakfast, there is the radio does mention something about strange things happening in Jakarta.
Right, because they're like, oh, Jakarta is like, I know it's a country in Asia.
It's not.
And yeah, Sarah's like, you guys are idiots. It's capital of Micronesia.
Indonesia.
Yeah, same place.
As a Polynesian person, I take offense to that.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. Well, even so, she gets the thing fixed and she makes it back home and she has to go spend time with the Adlers and she immediately asks the wife, hey, is something going on today? And the wife says, there's always something going on. People need to find Jesus. 3 nails plus 1 cross equals 4 given. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So then we get, Sarah sitting in the kitchen doing her homework, kind of hanging out there. The wife, I forget her name, says, she's in there talking to the mom, but before that, she says, like, do you want to bake cookies? And Sarah's like, chocolate chip? She's like, oh, oatmeal raisin.
Oh, everyone's favorite.
Look, I like oatmeal raisin. Kim, do you like oatmeal raisin?
No.
Dale, I'm assuming you don't like oatmeal raisin?
No. I actually don't think I've ever eaten one because they look...
They're solid, but most children would not want them. And those little things are what made me like Sarah, because you see the crap she has to put up with day after day. Yeah. Like, you poor kid. It's like, no, oatmeal raisin. Like, why am I hanging out with all these old people? You don't see her hanging out with any other kids.
What is an ingredient in cookies?
I would say flour.
Flour is
okay. Pretty key.
Cool.
What's an ingredient in pancake mix?
Probably flour also, I would imagine.
What about a cake that Joel forgot
probably
to pick
also
up?
flour and biscuits?
Probably flour.
Probably flour. Okay. Just curious.
Huh. What do a lot of people eat?
I think a lot of people eat bread, right?
Yeah. What's in bread?
Flour.
Flour. Would that be a good way to spread a disease?
Or for like a fungi to live in?
I know a fungi that lives in a pineapple.
Under the sea?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah. Frank.
Huh. Oh.
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 Yeah.
Did you mean to do that?
No, that was an accident, but it worked out great.
There is an accidental dropping of Frank's name later on that I think is a mistake too.
Yeah?
But we'll get there.
Okay, so the Adlers are there. They're the oldest, the mom is sitting over there in her chair. She just got fed. The wife went to the kitchen to get the cookies out. Sarah goes back into the room with the mother, kind of talks to her briefly, even though she can't really hear, and then goes to the DVD shelf, and she's looking for something, and we get the out-of-focus old granny in the back there.
Yeah, her body does something. It kind of like
shivers.
She spazzes out a little bit with her mouth open.
Yeah. She like leans back like, and we're just like, oh, don't do that.
So
that made me uncomfortable.
I think that was like a death spasm. That was her dying.
Yeah, that was, or just her like being fully. Because
I guess not dying because they're not dead. Yeah, they're not dead, but I guess that's the cordyceps moving all the way up into the brain.
Right. And she walks back into the kitchen, like, hey, can I borrow this movie? And she's like, oh, yeah, that's such and such's. I don't remember if it's her husband or maybe they have a son that doesn't live there anymore. Because it's kind of a weird movie for...
It is a weird movie for, yeah.
And it's just like some random, like, martial arts film.
Some D-tier martial arts, yeah.
Which is probably a lot of fun.
Which I'll bring up a martial arts film later for episode 2.
Just for fun, though.
Not for fun.
Oh. Ooh.
No fun.
No fun allowed. And then Sarah... It's like, oh, well, I better get home because my dad will be coming home soon, even though she knows he's not coming home until like 9.
Yeah.
She knows. It's like, I don't want to hang out with you people anymore. I didn't acknowledge it, but the old lady in there did something really weird. And I'm getting out of here. So
white people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. White people. Bye.
And the dog is like growling at the grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of whimpering at first when she's sitting there in the living room, and Mercy, the dog, is just there like...
Dog doesn't like whatever's going on.
Yeah. Dog knows something.
How do you remember the dog name?
Mercy.
Impressive. The animals always know more than us. I don't know how we became the dominant species, because I think instinctively we're dumb. That's all it takes. Mm-hmm. Thumbs are useful. Although if we were like sticky like geckos and had thumbs.
If we were gecko people?
Dude, think about it. We could like crawl around on stuff.
Like you could put like a door Like, it could be, like, up high.
We could, like, we wouldn't have stairs. We would just have ceiling
Yeah, you
doors.
wouldn't need stairs.
How
That's
would
the
we
point.
build buildings? Buildings would be so different if we could just
Because
stick
you wouldn't.
the walls.
Would you need floors?
Yes, because you still want to maximize
You want to put
that
stuff
space.
on.
Yeah, but you could.
But you would save space
You
by
could have.
just having, like, a
could have
fireman pole.
Yeah, or you could have. You don't even need the pole because you're sticking to the walls. But you could have doors
Right, but
on the
think
outside
about
of
it.
every
So
building.
you got to start on the corner, and then you got to work your way up, and then you got to work your way across. Whereas with a pole, you could just go up.
Oh, that's true. So a pole, yeah. I was thinking for like sliding down, you wouldn't need that. But you could also on every floor have a door to the outside on the way up your skyscraper. And in the cubicles go floor to ceiling. You'd have a desk on the ceiling and a desk right below it, and you'd have cubicle.
Oh, because you could hang upside down.
Yeah. So this is really gonna revolutionize the amount of like business. Like,
Why
people
has
we can
no
get in
one
there.
thought of being a gecko person before?
Don't know why. This has been our Gecko Pod. Oh, all right. Staying on topic, great in this first episode. So she goes back to the house, and she just kind of
Waits for Joel.
waits for Joel. Do we see any more of the Adlers at this point, or we just kind of left them with the dog staring at Granny, and we're all like, well, I kind of know what this show's going to be, so that's probably not a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Joel shows up before 9 with cake, because he promised.
No, he doesn't come home with cake. He forgot
Or
the cake.
before 9.
Yeah. He fucked up on both accounts.
Yeah, he promised, and Sarah doesn't seem too surprised. His heart's in the right place. Look, sometimes I'll say I
To
would
be
do
fair,
something.
where's he gonna get a cake at that late?
That's true. As soon as he said that, I'll be back by 9. It's like, when did you leave time to actually get a cake? Like,
Yeah.
Can I call your bakery, Daniel, and order a cake and say I'll pick it up at 8:30?
No one will be there.
But if I call you early enough, they'll bake it, and then someone else can run back there and get it for me, maybe?
48-hour notice. So.
Shit. Then you're gonna have to go pick up a pre-made shitty cake.
Yeah.
What if it's an ice cream cake and you just go to Baskin Robbins?
Is Baskin Robbins open that late?
I have no idea.
In Texas in 2003?
Did they exist in 2003?
Baskin Robbins did. I always remember 31 flavors.
Did Texas?
Death in Texas. That's what I've always been told about. So,
No, death and tax is the thing.
however you want to pronounce it,
Well, it's two different.
I've heard it both ways.
Well, yeah, you've heard it both ways because it's different words.
Fake news. We get that Joel tries. Okay, his intent was pure. When he promised to be home by 9 and get the cake, he really wanted to do that. But I feel like that's something I kind of have in common with him. Is I'll say like I'm gonna do something or want to do something, and just shit happens, and then I'm like, shit, I done fucked up. So he means well, but like we were talking about earlier, he's kind of, he's a little scatterbrained, he's all over the place, he's trying to do too much, single parent, running your own business, that's gotta be crazy. So again, you see, this is more, Sarah has to be...
On the single dad thing, was this the first sad dad game, or were there sad dad games before this one?
Would you say original God of War is a very sad dad, because he killed his whole family?
Well, I would definitely classify the new one
ones
as sad dad game.
But he had a family before.
But you're not really interacting with them.
No, I'm sure there is, but nothing to this.
Because I think of this. I think of Nier.
Nier, absolutely. When did Nier come out?
Probably around the same time as this. Early, maybe mid PS3. I'm betting Nier was 2009.
2010.
Hey.
Yeah, not bad. I'd say it's the first like big like blockbuster
sad dad
game. Blockbuster sad dad, because it's a Naughty Dog game. If you're not familiar with games or Naughty Dog is when a Naughty Dog game comes out, typically it's an event. Like people show up for that. Their stuff would all, I think, be potentially well adapted to television or movies, because their stuff is cinematic experiences. Like, yes, there's fun gameplay here and there, but their gameplay is the weakest part of what they do, honestly. It's the stories.
Used to be.
You think part 2?
You haven't played part 2. Part 2 is very good on the gameplay front.
Yeah, but shit on the story. Got it.
No, the story's good too, but...
Okay. Well, traditionally,
yes. Yeah.
I like their gameplay too, but a lot of people have issues
Traditionally,
with
the
it.
gameplay has just been serviceable.
But the stories are worth it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Joel's a piece of shit father. Didn't get a cake. Shows up late.
You're really stuck on the cake thing.
I like cake. Everyone knows I like cake.
Well, I mean, it's his birthday.
And he doesn't want pancakes, but Sarah and
So why is he
Tommy
doing all
both
this
wanted
shit she
pancakes.
wants to do, you know?
That's true. That's true. He apologizes, though, because he's a good dad. He's not a piece of shit dad like some people
He's not a
said
sad
Kim.
dad yet.
He's not a sad dad yet. He might be a sad widower or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't seem that upset about it.
The way he gets excited, like he changes, like, oh, I got a present for you. He's like, you got a present for me?
Mm.
And she hands the box. He's like, ooh. And then he opens it up and sees the watch. And she's like, I got it fixed for you. And he's like, oh, yeah? And he, like, holds it to his ear. And he's like, did you? And she's like, what? She's like, yeah, I got you. And she's like, you're so lame. And he's like, yeah, I know. That delivery, like, that touches me. Because I can see it in my children's eyes with the constant horrible jokes I barrage them with. The oldest, the 10-year-old, just kind of puts up with me. And I kind of got that right there. I was like, oh, God. Is that me?
Yes.
Yes. And then she whips out the DVD, and he's like, oh, this is the one that's got, like, the special features or something on it.
Yeah. DVDs would have been semi-new, right? 2003?
It's around when players started getting more affordable. That's probably around when I got my first one.
You think they're rocking? They're probably rocking a PS2.
Possibly. Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't show a PS.
Has there been any product placement?
No, but I did see a Beyonce poster in the bedroom. First did that opening scene there.
Did see a Beyonce poster.
Don't think there's been product placement yet, but there will be.
Who was the singer on her shirt? She had a musician on her shirt. I didn't know who it was. Did you know?
Oh,
I don't know.
Was there a cool shirt that I missed?
If we knew who it was that was on her shirt, I don't know. We'll look into that. We'll
think about the time of the time.
2003.
Avril Lavigne.
Britney Spears? I think I would have.
No, it wasn't Britney. It wasn't Avril. It might have just been a lady on a shirt pretending to sing.
Not Doja Cat.
Definitely not Doja Cat. Yeah, not Doja Cat. I mean, I wasn't looking that up. I know that. I was just filling the silence there.
It's Halcyon Drops. Drops?
I don't know what the fuck that is.
I've heard of it.
Is that some 2003 sad girl music?
Halcyon Drops. Is that what she's wearing in the game?
That's what it shows on the
Huh. So apparently that is what Sarah is wearing
in the game as well.
A Halcyon Drops t-shirt.
Neat.
I've definitely heard it. I don't know their stuff right off the top of my head though. But that's what I'm watching this show differently than I'd be watching some other like property that's not adapting like a big game or a book. Like if this was just like a wholly or somewhat original thing, I wouldn't be doing this. But I am actually kind of looking around for these little details.
Mm-hmm.
And it's neat when you find something.
It is neat.
So I don't know if the show would be just even more fun for people who have played the games. Maybe, probably.
I mean,
also
depending on the person, because there's a subset of them who are trash.
Well, yeah, trash people, lots of reason. They're creepy people.
Yeah.
Well, for someone who hasn't played the game at all, I am loving it.
Just gotta stay hydrated, babe, because there's more tears to come.
There's so many more.
Yeah. But I think yeah, that the advantage of having played the game is, all those little details and stuff. I don't know what to look for because I've never played the game, obviously, but I don't know. I like it.
They're not going to mean anything to you because you haven't played the game. So they're nice little fun things for the people that have stuck with them.
And it's good that there aren't too many of them.
Right. You don't want to oversaturate.
I don't want, like, some Marvel shit.
You don't want them, like, always, like, turning to the camera and winking, like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Like, if there had been a PS2 and, like, a Jack and Daxter game.
Like.
I don't know. That might have been too much, but
maybe too much. I do like that they are making an effort to get the voice cast in there, and we'll talk about one of those people specifically later in this episode.
Big part for her, yeah.
Yeah. But let's keep rolling along here. They watch the movie. He's like, what does he tell her, hon? Before they start the movie? Okay, you dropped the ball there. Try not to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so riveting. How could I fall asleep? And then cut to she's passed out, and he's still watching it. Good dad. And he gets a phone call.
So here's an interesting difference from the game. In the game, she wakes up and Joel is gone, and there's no context for where he has gone or why he's gone.
Now, she still wakes up that way in the show, but we know why.
Right. It's because in the show, he's gotten a phone call from Tommy, who's locked up in jail, and he's calling Joel to get him out.
Now, by Joel's reaction, this isn't necessarily a first time for this kind of thing. I mean, he knows where that particular prison
he knows where
is.
the prison is. Yeah.
But from the sounds of things, I mean, I'm sure Tommy has like acted like it wasn't his fault in the past before, but the way Tommy describes this scene is
like, yeah, I fucked up.
Well, he's like, I fucked up,
but he's basically describing an infected person going nuts in a bar.
Right. He said a guy at a bar started swinging on a waitress, so I stepped in and I knocked him out, and then the cops showed up.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, Joel. So, I mean, he obviously knows, like, his brother doesn't need anything more, like, on his plate. So, to be a constant fuck-up for Joel to have to take care of, I mean, sometimes you get those situations, and, I mean, some people are just...
But this is showing that Joel cares about family, so he's going to go and he's going to take care of Tommy.
A lot of people don't know that Joel's middle name is actually Dom.
A lot of people don't know that. What year did Fast and Furious come out?
It's funny you say that because we talked about DVDs and stuff. Yeah. I believe Fast and the Furious was one of my first 3 DVDs I bought.
Okay.
Because all I could do was go to the local Walmart and buy whatever they had. So it was Monkey Bone, 3 Strikes, and I think Fast and the Furious. So that would fit. He'd be like, this guy cares about family. I care about family.
I care about family, too.
So Joel Miller is probably a big Fast and the Furious fan.
Yeah. Do you think, would he have liked Tokyo Drift?
Doesn't everybody?
No.
Isn't it the best in the series?
Yes, but...
Then why? Of course he would.
It's like asking someone their favorite Final Fantasy, right? Everyone's going to have a different answer.
Right. And
some of which are wrong.
Right, a lot of them are wrong.
Yeah.
If they're not saying 8.
See what I mean?
Okay, they're really wrong, though, if they are saying 9.
Well, see, that's definitely wrong. But you can like 9, that's fine. But what's not okay is to like Fast and Furious 9.
I don't even know which one that is.
I think that's I don't know. I think it's the one I fell asleep watching in the basement. John Cena.
You couldn't see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on.
It's okay. This is going to happen a lot because we're this whole time period we lived through it during like a very impressionable like age. So I think the fact that it did happen when we were teens to start this, like, that's weird.
I didn't even think about that till we started.
Well, that's weird for me. Like, I love jumping back to the 80s and 90s as like fun old timey things, but I don't think about 2003 as old timey because I was in high school by then.
But that's 20
But now
years
I'm like,
ago.
that's 20 fucking years ago. Yeah. That's ancient.
You're ancient, yeah.
Yeah. 44.
We're gonna have to chuck you into the volcano.
I'm ready, bud. I won't even fight you.
So Sarah wakes up to an explosion, a green explosion, which I think is electrical, right? That's like a power grid going out.
I believe so, yes.
Generally causes green sparky shit
That's
like
how
that.
It's always portrayed in like TV and whatnot.
And a helicopter going.
As they do.
And this is 3 hours later because they show the
time, yeah.
Yeah, and then she's looking around for her dad.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't see him, but then she sees Mercy outside the sliding glass door.
She tries to turn on the TV, see if there's anything on she's startled by Mercy.
Which this dog, that's private property. Castle law, shoot the dog.
She could shoot the dog if she wanted to.
Yeah.
The TV did say something like stay inside, didn't it?
Yeah, I think I was laughing at that part because it was like an emergency broadcast. It said, everybody, stay inside, and then the first thing she does is go outside.
And I was like, you were so smart.
Until that point.
And now you're dumb.
Well, I mean, there's a dog.
Let the dog inside. You don't go outside.
Well, she goes outside to get the dog.
No, she opens the door. She could have let the dog... The dog was right there at the door. She could have just let the dog in.
The dog didn't want to come in, though. Oh, she tries to take the dog back to its house.
The dog doesn't want to go back to its house. She's dragging it by the collar.
See, the dog didn't want to follow the message either.
Well, no, the dog knew to get the fuck out of its house. Because the old grandma was in there like... And she had like probably the stuff coming out of her mouth at that point.
Yeah.
Which I don't like that. Tested, but I don't like that.
So that's a change from the game.
Yeah.
So what happens in the...
They pretty much just...
the test scene?
I mean, like, the infected, they pretty much just bite you.
Yeah, and they're you can get infected by the spores, right?
Yeah, spores is a big
pop
thing.
Open.
Like,
They
completely did away with the spores show because it doesn't actually make that much sense because in the game they're always putting on gas masks to avoid the spores, but even then the spores would still be all over your clothes and everything.
Yeah.
And I assume with the show, Pedro didn't want to be in another show where he had to constantly wear a mask.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It like made it more simplistic, right?
Yeah.
In the grand
Simplified
scheme of
things a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Plus, I mean, if they were having to worry about that, like you're saying, everyone would have been done. Because, I mean, a breeze comes through and all of a sudden spores are everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
So, no, I think that's a good change. I remembered the spores. I remember when there were like a meter to track like how many you were...
I don't think there's a meter, but there are enemies that like shoot spores at you.
Yeah. So that's a good change. I like that. I'm not one of those people that need my video game adaptations or book adaptations to the film to be 1-to-1.
No.
If they make better sense for the story...
And for most of the changes they're making are better, with the exception of, I think, one that I'll call out when it happens.
Okay. I'm excited for it, because you're going to remember more of those than I am. Mercy does not want to go back to her house. We, the audience, have a good feeling why, because all the shit's going down, and we seen Grandma get a little freaky earlier.
Yeah.
But she drags Mercy back. The front door's open, right? Because that's how Mercy got out. Drags him back in there. She's calling for the Adlers. She makes it to the kitchen.
Well, the dog bolts.
The dog takes off. The collar undoes or whatever.
Undoes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, undoes.
Yeah, it undoes. It's a word. Undid. Challenge me.
Collar gets undid.
Yeah.
Undoes it.
And she almost slips. Pool of blood there.
Yeah, she gets in the kitchen and that's what... Yeah, she slips on the blood. And then she sees...
She's the old dude. He's all bloody and he's like pointing. Is he pointing? Is he just looking?
I think he's saying like run. Is he saying run?
He's like, help me.
Oh, yeah. And then she rounds the kitchen island.
And she sees Grandma giving face hugs to the old lady, to the other lady.
And
that ain't right.
Hugs too hard. And then I'm assuming she makes a noise as she's startled and slightly backs up.
Yeah.
And then the old lady, like, is a lot more spry.
Yeah, she a runner, she a track star.
Yeah, she is booking it. And so,
Are they... So that was one of my first thoughts, too. I was like, oh, man, they're fast.
I mean, obviously, we can see that as the cordyceps takes over the body, it's replacing some of the, issues that they're having. Like the old lady who was a complete, invalid before, the fungus has strengthened those parts of the body because, it's taken over the brain. A lot of times your brain forces parts of your body to stop working to protect yourself. That's why, whenever you hurt your leg, you're limping because, that's your body saying, no, don't put weight on that. That hurts. You're going to hurt it worse.
I look at it, there's that, and it's literally, replacing muscle.
Yeah. I'd say given time, 100% on that, just like he implied with the ants and whatnot.
So there's the runners, which is people just recently infected, and then 2 weeks down the line, they become stalkers, and then a year after that, they become clickers. Yeah, as the fungus progresses in their body.
And now the clickers are the most dangerous? No, another stage after that?
There are other things.
Okay, don't spoil it. Don't say it.
Okay. Okay. So Sarah has to get the fuck out of there.
Joel and Tommy pull up in a truck.
She runs and she trips over the rug, right?
Uh-huh.
And she's out there and gets up. And then, Joel and Tommy pull up in the truck.
And Tommy's like, Joel, what do we do?
Joel whacks her.
Yeah, because then the old lady falls
That's
on
what
the
you
rug
fucking
too.
do.
And Sarah's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she is freaking out.
You just hit the old lady? And Joel's like, nope, we're putting him down.
Yeah, she's like, you killed her.
Another neighbor comes out. It's like yelling like, Joel, what's going on?
And he's like, get the fuck back in the house.
Go in your house. We're gonna leave.
We're gonna go. You stay.
You stay. You'll be fine. I'm sure of it. We gotta leave because maybe I shouldn't have done a whack.
I did a whack.
I did a whack.
Sometimes
of the old lady.
Which I would say 90% of the time you should not do a whack.
But now we're in the period of time.
But this is the period of time
where we can be whacking all the time.
2 years after the towers fell, it's time to whack. Everyone's
getting whacked.
Old people are getting whacked.
What? Old people, young people? I whacked a baby.
The old person was coming. She was gonna get on. Sarah had to whack that old person off of her.
Yeah, we whacked off the old person.
That's what I was going for.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kim looks so disappointed right now. So we finished whacking a bunch of people off. We get
Just the one.
just the one, but we did it really well.
Oh, yeah.
We hop on. We hop
You know,
on
like
our
a
truck.
good, like you're not getting back up after that.
No, she is spent. Okay, she's out of it. She's gonna have a little nap after getting whacked off so good.
So they get in the truck.
They get in the truck, right? They're getting the fuck out of Dodge.
And they're driving through. They're trying to get. Where are they trying to get? To the highway?
To the highway, but they get there and everyone's had that idea because it's clear shit
So
is going down.
this entire truck scene is 1-to-1 with the game. It's the exact same thing.
Okay, it looked familiar to me, so that's what I was going to ask. Like, how much of that varied?
It's literally everything is the same.
Well, that's fantastic. See, I like that.
Ignoring the family on the side of the road, all that shit.
Right, you ain't got time for that. Now, the problem I have with it in the game and here is I don't see how people weren't just climbing into the back of their truck.
I guess, yeah.
Because I feel like in that situation, that's absolutely what I would do. If I'm running around trying to get the hell out of there and a vehicle's rolling through here and I can easily get in or on that vehicle, I'm 100% doing it.
Yeah.
So I love, though, so it works in game logic, how they get separated. So they're trying
this
to
is
drive
a
through
real Resident Evil 2 moment here.
Yeah, so they're trying to drive through all the people, and then a plane's coming and crashing, right? So then they're trying to back up through all the people, and then they get out of the truck at some point.
Well,
the part of the plane hits their truck.
Yeah, big metal part of the plane flies through the truck.
Oh yeah, it takes out the truck. So now they're out on foot, and they're trying to get through all these people, and they're running, and a car or something blows up.
Two cars like collide and blow up or something.
Right, and it separates. Joel and Sarah are in an alleyway.
They're in an alley, and Tommy's on the other side, and there's fire.
And it perfectly is in front of the alley, and Kim's like, why doesn't he just go around?
A video game, that's why.
That's why I said it's video game. That's how you separate and create that. He can't just go around.
Leon and Claire, they're separated.
There's no way to get around it. It's probably not an alley, just one block over.
I think he could have gone over the car on the right. It didn't look to be on fire that much.
Yeah, that was funny seeing that play out in a show exactly like it would in a game.
Yeah, but so Joel not wanting to pick up the family on the side of the road shows that he is willing to abandon morality for the sake of protecting his family.
Yeah, his family is first.
So obviously the right thing to do would be to help those people out because they could put them in the back of the truck.
They could have.
But Joel's like, nope.
Yeah, we don't have time for that. They gotta look. I can only take care of so many people, and that comes up a lot. We'll talk about that in episode 3. How we feel about a certain character's decision and how he acts, and if it's justified or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Joel's actions there are perfectly justified. You can't. If you're in a position where you can help someone, then you know you can do it without putting your people at risk.
I mean,
sure.
you don't.
If
he doesn't know they're not infected. Doesn't even know what infected is really.
Right. Think back to early COVID. You don't know people. All we're hearing is people's dying from this crap.
Yeah.
And it's spreading super easy. This is like that, but even more extreme. You don't know. This is day 0.
And you don't want to pull his house and just abduct the child.
Yeah, but if he was by himself, then I think he can decide I want to take that risk or not. He's got his brother and his daughter. He can't decide to put those two at risk. That's not completely his decision to make, I think. So I think he does the right thing and not putting the other people.
He does the right thing by not doing the right thing.
He does the right thing by him and his family's survival. Maybe not the completely morally right thing, but I'd say it's a morally great choice.
And we don't know what happened to that family. If they had gotten in the back of the truck, they'd be dead when the plane thing hit them. So
yeah.
So Joel can see the future, is what I'm saying.
Joel can see the future. I mean, did you think poorly of Joel for that choice?
I probably would have done.
Same thing. Like those could have all been weird, creepy.
They could have been bad people. They could have been bad people.
Something.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he made the comment like, "Oh, we've got," Tommy's like, they've got a kid. No, we have a kid too.
And that's also just another important difference between Joel and Tommy.
Tommy
idealist.
would have stopped. Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy wants to save the world. Joel understands that sometimes you can only save a person.
Sometimes you can't.
Sometimes you can't, and Joel's going to go on a journey. There's going to be a lot of character development for him. But yeah, the video game separation there was fantastic. So we got Joel. We're following Joel and Sarah now. We lose track of Tommy.
Mm-hmm. Sarah's ankle's all fucked up, so Joel has to carry her.
Uh-huh. They plan to meet up over at
the river.
At the river.
In a van down by the river.
Yeah, where their buddy Chris lives. I don't think was he dead by 2003? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Really that long ago?
So what year did Shrek come out?
A long time ago.
So he was dead before Shrek.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Joel and Sarah running through the alley, and they stumble upon a bunch of bodies where one of the infected having a feast on the bodies.
He's chowing down.
Uh-huh.
Which is weird, because why would they be eating it?
I don't think he was actually eating. I think he was just doing this little Cthulhu spread.
Yeah, but if they're dead, they can't be infected, so that one must have still been...
Still maybe a little alive,
a little bit alive. Yeah, because they explicitly say that later, like, the dead can't be infected.
I mean, they say that, but is that true?
I think a fungus would have an easier time doing it, but maybe it can't fully reanimate it.
Maybe again, it's not. Maybe it's because it's evolved to be a certain temperature. Maybe it needs to be warm.
Maybe. I think it's going to be more of once the organs are shut down, it can't reanimate the heart, or maybe it can't reanimate the brain. But if it's on, it can take it over.
I don't know. I'm not a...
Because that's what the...
I ain't no mycologist, you know?
That's what John Hannah said at the beginning of the episode, is it, tries to keep them alive for as long as possible.
Sure.
So I don't think it can give life, but it can maintain.
So
these aren't zombies.
No, they're not. So the infected chases Joel and Sarah through some buildings and an alley, and then gets into a field, and then a Marine guy shoots the infected. Whew, we're saved.
We're saved.
Thank goodness.
Ish. Marine guy's
talking on the walkie-talkie on the radio to a superior officer.
Joel's like, we're not infected. We're fine. We need to get help. The whole time the Marine is like, what? What are you telling me to do? Like, he's very confused.
He's confused, like, sir, but it's a little girl. He's like,
so we're immediately like, oh shit.
Yeah, and then all you hear is just completely...
Yeah, the soldier's a little dead inside because now
he knows what he has to do.
Points the gun,
fires. Joel and Sarah spiral down like a little, what would you call
hill,
that? Like a little slope.
Like a little ravine.
And then the guy's pointing the gun at Joel. He's going to finish him off. And then Tommy sneaks up behind him, shoots him in the head. And we're like, okay, Joel's all right.
Yeah, Joel's got a gun wound, but it's not bad.
It's a little graze. This is salvageable.
But Kim at this point thinks like, oh no, the main character's dad is going to die. And I had to sit there the whole time knowing when everything she's saying is wrong.
So
Sarah's
got a gut shot.
Yeah, it's bad.
She bleed real bad.
So Joel picks her up, cradles her in his arms, like help me. Tommy doesn't know what the fuck to do.
I think Tommy knows because of his time in the military. He knows there's nothing that can be done.
Right. And it is a gut-wrenching scene.
I'm bawling my eyes out.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway through the first episode.
It's like 38 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking rough. Then Tommy's like, we've got to go. Like, we can't. So he can't even, like, bury the body.
Yeah.
Or anything. Like, that's fucking bleak, man.
And then it's just, boom, 20 years later, Boston.
Yep, we've aged him up a little bit. I'd say he ages a lot better in 20 years than some of our other characters that appeared to be about the same age as him.
Which characters?
The ones we meet in episode 3.
Oh, yeah, they age up a lot.
And I feel like, okay.
So I think he's supposed to be in his
50s, because they explicitly say he's like 30 something on his birthday.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And I think the two characters you're talking about would be 40s, maybe.
It's
late
gonna have
40s.
To be.
Yeah.
Because by the time we get to the end of their arc, I'm gonna say they're
fucking ancient.
70 or 80. Yeah. And he's in do we see him right off the bat in his little apartment?
It doesn't start with him.
That's right.
It starts with a child who we're like, maybe this isn't infected, maybe it's not.
Oh, that's right.
Sort of stumbling toward civilization, and the kid gets picked up by soldiers, and they're all they're taking him in. They're being nice to him, and they run some sort of a test on him. We don't see the result, but we see them exchange like knowing glances, and then they give the kid a shot, And then we cut to burning of bodies with Joel.
Right. Now, the test, it's this little, I say little, it's a bulky handheld device that basically they push up to their neck, it seems like almost always. I don't know why it's always there. And it pricks their skin and does a really instant readout. And basically what we see later is if the screen flashes green, they're good. Red, they're bad. And it's pretty quick.
Yep.
So that's convenient.
Okay, so I'm confused. So maybe you guys can explain it, but when that little kid shows up at the QZ, I don't understand why at that point they don't get rid of him. I mean, I feel like...
They don't know that he's infected.
We see later in another episode where they made some decisions without caring if they're infected or not, but we're beyond that point. I think there's...
I think there's probably protocol you follow.
Stuff has shifted in the time between the first infection period and 20 years from then. Because I gotta say, there's probably plenty... I'll just say it. When they're first filling the quarantine zones, space becomes an issue. They are forcibly putting people into these quarantine zones to keep the infection from running rampant out there because they feel like they can keep, if we bring in only clean people, it's not going to be an issue. But then they don't want other people running around near there.
But they don't want people to possibly get infected.
Right, so they decide that instead of letting them live their life outside the quarantine zone, they just kill them all.
Yeah.
So they can't get infected. Now, jump to 17 years in the future from that point, because I feel like that was like 3 years in maybe. Or no, that was probably, I don't know, it was early on.
So
jump to
I can give a little background on FEDRA.
Yeah.
So it is Federal Disaster Response Agency. In the wake... Thanks, Obama. Well, no, Obama wasn't.
It never happened.
Where was he when this was going down? Huh?
What was he doing in the White House in 2003?
I'd like to know that.
Yeah.
So they basically took over, declared... so the way I read this is it's a combination of FEMA teaming up with the military to declare martial law, get rid of all the bureaucracy of politicians in order to do what they felt was necessary to contain the spread of the virus, the fungi.
Which is not entirely unbelievable considering how the scientist, Dr. Newman, explained to us how bad this would be. Like, there's no cure. There's no nothing. This will destroy everybody. So extreme measures like that, I could easily see them rationalizing.
So they take over. They're an authoritarian regime. They have the military move. They work hand in hand with the military. They have the military move all uninfected civilians into large quarantine zones in major cities. And as with power, you're gonna do some shady shit with it, right?
Right. They think what they're doing is for the greater good.
For the greater good.
The greater good. And the thing is, people are infected. Within 24 hours, they change. So there really isn't time to be like,
to think about.
You don't have time for that, yeah.
Yeah, so if one infected person is in their quarantine zone, it has to be taken care of. Otherwise, as we find out later with other quarantine zones, the fact that any of these quarantine zones with all these people are still standing
I won't say anything.
I'm not remembering something?
No, there's not a lot of these quarantine zones left.
Right. And logically, it wouldn't make sense that there would be, because you have that many people there, and that's as easily as that thing can spread.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that any of them are standing.
We have no idea what's going on globally.
Be like a 28 days situation?
Maybe.
Because when that, as far as I knew, it was isolated to England?
Yeah, that was isolated. But this is not isolated.
This is not. No, this is global.
Yeah. But maybe other countries handled it better or differently.
I mean, some of them are authoritarian already.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, that's another life
I mean, you
thing.
can look at how countries handled COVID to see.
That's what I was going to say. That's another...
But even that didn't work, so...
Didn't work, and that's another one of those things where, like, just because the way they did it worked doesn't mean it was a morally correct
way to
we'll
let history books 100 years from now decide that, I guess.
Yeah, whoever's left standing.
Yeah.
So this little kid...
Yes, little kid.
He's taped up and zip-tied and whatnot and loaded onto the truck where you see Joel and the other gal who's part of this.
They're taking the bodies from the trucks and throwing them in the fire.
The last we see of the kid is him getting the shot.
Right, so he's dead as far as we know.
Well, you don't know he's dead.
I'm hoping he's dead. I'm assuming we're not burning him alive. I'm assuming it's a killer injection. And I'm going to say he's dead, because you're not going to leave someone who's already infected alive for any longer than you have to.
Until the lady refuses to take that body and the camera focuses on the shoes, you don't know that it's that kid.
You don't know it's the kid, because
Right.
the face is covered. And then...
Another thing this shows us is that Joel has no problem burning the...
Picks it up,
Picks it
throws
up,
in the fire.
no problem.
Joel is just doing a job.
Mm-hmm. He's surviving.
At this point, this is 20 years from now. Joel is... He's in his 50s now.
He's hard.
Hardened. He still looks damn good, but they've peppered him up or salted him up quite a bit, quite a few grays, but he still physically looks like he's in great shape. He burns the body. He goes back in. He gets his payment. He's immediately asking for, what jobs do you have next? And the guy's like, well, I've got sewer duty, and I've got some other thing. And Joel's just like, I don't care which one pays.
That'd be the one with the shit.
Yeah, the one with the shit. And he's like, great, give it to me. So Joel doesn't care what he's doing. He just to get the money, to survive. And we find out more that he specifically wants the money because Joel get a battery.
Mm-hmm.
Why does Joel?
So as this is kind of your introduction to the Boston QZ zone, Joel's walking around. He walks by a public execution, because that's the thing we're doing now for people who break the rules. And I think these people left the zone, which they don't like.
Nope, because you can easily bring back that infection, as we discussed. It's pretty easy for one of these QZs to fall.
Yes.
So, are they right to do it?
No.
No, morally no, but...
I think it's more of a deterrent. So if people see that, are being publicly executed for them, having left the quarantine zone, maybe that'll deter other people from wanting to do the same thing.
I mean, these people did not get a trial. They did not have a lawyer.
If they weren't infected, though, I think it's overkill.
If someone wants to leave, they should just be allowed to leave.
And if they come back in, it doesn't seem like the test.
I wouldn't let them back in.
Well, if you can test them, like if that thing just independently does it, like it doesn't waste resources to test them.
If you let them back in, they're just gonna wander in and out all they want. You can leave, but you can't come back.
Well, as long as they are testing clean every time they're coming back in, if they can trust that, then I'm like, nah, just test.
But you're not supposed to leave, so that's gonna lead to them sneaking back in, and then they're not gonna get tested.
This is where I'm saying that you can't justify just killing them because they left. I'm saying if you can test them and it's pretty instantaneous, and they leave, they come back, you test them, they're still clean, then no harm, no foul. But they're allowed to leave. Okay. There's got to be a process to check out and stuff like that, and okay, and if you're gone for this long, then maybe you have to, I don't know.
It's like when you would back in the old COVID days, where you would have to quarantine for a little bit after going somewhere and coming back, right?
Right, no matter what. So there could have been a different way. Instead of, you weren't supposed to leave, yeah, you're not infected, but you weren't supposed to do it and we killed you. So I'm just saying, the ends don't justify the means. There could have been another way. Fedra's bad. Firefly forever.
Fedra is bad. Well, I don't know about Firefly forever, but Fedra is bad.
Right now, though, Firefly forever.
Right now, Fireflies seem like good guys.
Yeah.
So Joel meets up with a shady guard, sells that guard pills, and then talks about needing a truck for something.
Yes, the guard is going to accept payment to have him and some other guards look the other way so Joel can get his hands on a truck that doesn't necessarily work, but that's Joel's problem.
That's Joel's problem. He'll need a battery, but he says he's already got that covered.
Yeah, he thinks he's got that covered. And bear in mind, the QZ, it looks like shit.
It ain't great.
This isn't good. These are...
But it's not the worst.
It's not the worst. It's not the best. They could have their own private little small town.
They could.
People do that.
Yeah.
Later.
Cut to Tess, and this is the introduction to Tess. She's tied to a chair, talking to Robert, and we learn that Robert was going to sell Tess a battery, but has sold it to someone else, and then had his men jump Tess, or I guess they got in an argument about it.
Yeah, because he apologizes for them. They weren't supposed to rough her up.
And she's like, it's not you know what, we'll just forget it, go our separate ways, no big deal. But he is like, no, you're going to tell Joel. And that is very scary to me. He's terrified of Joel.
Yeah, so Joel has clearly established a reputation as you don't fuck with my people. Again, Tess is with Joel, and we know how Joel feels about family, the people he's with.
Mm-hmm.
So multiply that feeling by 20 years of surviving in a kind of I don't want to say a lawless world, because there are laws, but basically no one's going to bat an eye if you go beat the shit out of someone just, for what you deem a valid reason. Joel's killed some people, I would assume.
That is safe to assume, yes.
Yes.
So Tess tells Robert now that, you don't have to worry about Joel. I'll tell him.
I just got jumped by some random people,
Yeah.
not your boys. It's going to be fine.
And then the wall blows up. Robert's gone.
His boys are dead.
And Tess just gets up. She's fine. She sees...
Is she a little hurt?
She's a little hurt, but she sees the blood trail from Robert, and she immediately starts following.
Uh-huh.
So this tells me two things. She was lying when she said that it was fine what happened, and she's a badass.
Yeah. She's important, probably won't die.
And she's important and probably won't die.
She doesn't catch up to Robert, but she does end up going outside, back through the hole that blew up in the wall?
She would have caught up to him, because she follows the trail outside, but it leads to where a firefight is currently happening between Fedra agents and Fireflies.
Right, and she's like, fuck. And so she's just immediately, trying to sneak out of there, but then Fedra sees her, and she's like, puts her hands up like, I'm not one of them! I'm not one of those! I'm not a Firefly! I'm not Firefly!
Yeah.
Or Serenity. This would be a great show for Alan Tudyk to show up in. Just saying.
He was originally in Uncharted 4.
Was he?
Yeah. Before it got rebooted.
That's unfortunate, because he's fantastic.
Yeah.
So she gets picked up by...
Fedra.
And then we cut back to Joel, who's made his way...
We cut to Ellie.
Cut to Ellie.
This is our introduction to Ellie.
Yeah, so it's a young girl.
I think she's going by Victoria right now.
Veronica.
So it's a young girl, probably about the same age as Sarah was when Joel lost her. She's tied up or handcuffed in a corner of a room.
She's handcuffed to a radiator, as you do.
Radiator, classic. And what's she doing?
They're having her take a test, count to 10, holding out her hand so that you can see that she's not shaking.
And Daniel and I are both doing this, even though you can't see that.
Oh, I just wanted to see if I would be shaking, which I am.
I shake a lot as it is. Yeah, I think it's in our...
But I'm a pilot with this hand, though.
Now, Ellie's very, snarky in her testing thing. She's like, 1, 2, 3, and the lady has to stop her and tell her, no, you need to slow down. And then she, counts all the way up to 8 and 9 and 10, says fuck you to this person giving her the test. And yeah, whatever.
Yeah, she's got a lot of attitude. Which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell it's been 20 years since the first thing happened. If she's a teenager, she's lived in this in her
grew
entire
up
life.
in this, yeah.
Yeah, probably in the quarantine zone, but if not, just grew up with the whole, world that have already fallen apart. So she's a hard ass already, just based on the environment.
Mm-hmm.
We find out at some other point that she's from the orphanage.
Well, she was in an orphanage, and then she was raised by Fedra in a military training school.
Oh, for some reason I thought Fedra ran the orphanage.
Maybe
that was part of it. That's if you're in the orphanage, you have to go to the
if you're in the
school.
orphanage, you get sent to Fedra military. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
Orphanage.
I pulled a Ryan.
So yeah, she's getting basically it's like a cognitive test.
Yeah.
And you're like, why are they testing her that way? What's going on? I know.
I don't know at that point.
Kim has no idea.
Mm-hmm. And there's a firefly symbol on the wall,
which we seen one getting painted over earlier.
With their little their slogan, "When lost in darkness, look for the light."
Yeah.
So we assume she's being held by fireflies for some reason.
And then we meet Marlene.
That is later.
Okay. What more info do we get about Victoria Ellie or Veronica Ellie?
I think that's it. Then we cut to Joel, who is trading cigarettes to check for radio messages.
Yeah.
The cigarettes that he got from that that soldier.
To finish paying for the pills because he was short, right?
Yes. So he's checking for a radio message from Tommy, and he hasn't heard from Tommy in 3 weeks.
Right, and the radio guy tries to reassure him that, he's probably fine, but he's like, how long have we ever gone without hearing from...
Yeah, and Tommy is in Wyoming.
Which is another state.
Which is like that's like all the way across the country from Boston, yeah.
From Boston. Yeah, that's like, not all the way.
It's pretty close to all the way.
It's pretty cause to all the way.
Yeah. It's like far.
It's like
Would you say it's like
far.
a long way away?
It's a long way.
Like a long.
Long.
Oh,
So
but this radio guy is like, there are raiders out there and slavers, and Joel's like, okay, so you're saying Tommy's safe and all that. And the guy just kind of shuts up.
He's like, oh, you right.
Like, yeah.
I done goofed, yeah.
Yeah. So then Joel goes home we get to see his apartment, and it's not a bad apartment.
For, like, the state of the city and whatnot, like, that's a decent little place. It's got a nice, like, big bed. It's not, like, overly cluttered. It looks gray like everything else, because apparently we stripped all the color out of the world. I mean, sure, paint fades, but fuck, man. It's all gray.
I have a theory that I'm going to share now.
That you just made up.
That I'm just making up right now. That color will slowly be introduced to the show as his relationship with Ellie deepens.
As his heart blooms. That makes sense for episode 3. Full of color.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. He's digging in the floor. Oh no, he moves like a curio. No, not a curio. Like is it a box or is it like a
cabinet, wardrobe?
And he opens up the floor.
His stash,
and he pulls out, what does he pull out? The money. He's got
He's got a handgun. Yeah.
Handgun.
Oh, important. He had the radio guy mark on the map where the radio tower that Tommy is located.
Right, because he wants to go check it.
He's gonna go. That's why he wants the truck. He's gonna go find Tommy. Now in the game, that is not why they want the truck.
Why do they want the truck in the game, Daniel?
I don't remember.
Is it?
I think they just wanted to leave the QZ.
Which is fair.
Like, Tommy isn't really mentioned at all until later.
I was gonna say, I definitely didn't remember Tommy being a big factor at this point. I know it's...
But, like, the entire drive of their leaving right now is for Tommy.
Yes. Which is a good motivator.
Yeah.
Because as we've seen, Joel is all about family, so he's willing to do whatever. He's impatient.
Yeah.
He's willing to put himself at risk to go get this done. So everything is focused on this.
He drinky, he do some pillies, he fall asleepy. At some point, Tess come home, cuddle.
Oh,
right before that though, Tess, tells Joel, like, we're gonna get this Robert guy. Like, I told Robert that you wouldn't go after him.
So that's after they wake up.
Yeah, they have because he sees her face and he's like, "What the fuck? You didn't."
So here's where
yeah.
So this is where we get some character traits. Tess is very logical, and Joel is very emotional.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Impulsive,
yes. Tess is like, okay, yes, Robert did this, but if you go storming out of here, he's going to hear about it super quick, and he's going to hide away, and we're never going to find him. So I need you to take a breath. We're going to do this my way, slowly, and we're going to get our fucking battery.
And this is awesome because it shows that Joel knows his weaknesses.
Changes what you might have thought the power dynamic in their relationship was.
You might have thought that Joel's main character, Joel's going to be in charge. Joel, he's scared of Joel. Joel's going to go do this, but I think it's 50-50.
I think you should be afraid of Tess.
I think Tess is going to destroy your operation from the inside out, and she will wield Joel like a weapon.
Yes.
But I think their decisions, I think they work together. Their strengths and weaknesses absolutely complement each other. Mm-hmm. Their relationship, I think that's quarantine relationships.
Quarantine relationship.
Look, Joel cares about her. Tess cares about Joel. But you gotta wonder, is their relationship just a matter of convenience for the quarantine? Yes, they do care about each other. And it's great to have those human comforts, like, of touch and everything. But it's like, would they have this relationship if they had met pre-quarantine? Would they have hit it off?
In the game, I don't know if this is true, but in the game, I get the feeling that they had been together a lot less long compared to the show. Because in the show, they've been together for like 10 years.
Uh-huh.
But in the game, it doesn't really feel like that. I mean, they're still close, but...
Right. Because, I mean, I think if you get a chance to attach to someone in that situation, there's not a lot of people left. You find someone you can actually trust and have your back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, yeah. I loved how well they established that, and the fact that, again, getting a character, or just a human being in general, to recognize their weakness and understand, like, okay, maybe I'm not right here. I want to do this thing, but this other person is going to help me accomplish this goal without fucking it up. And I need to just... Yeah, so acknowledging your own weaknesses, I think that's an awesome character trait.
Mm-hmm.
It's good writing. That's what I said. There's great writing in the game, and so far in the show, I'm hanging on every word. Everything they're doing, I'm like, ooh, okay. Oh. So, yeah, Joel has to stow his anger. We're listening to Tess. So she has a plan. Oh, she tells Joel, like, you just wait here, right? I'm going to
go talk to people. I'm going to find out where he is, and then we're going to go get the battery and our money back.
Yeah,
and we can kill him if you want.
Yeah, we're gonna not have to pay for this battery. You get to kill him.
Yep,
that's great. So it's a good deal.
Good deal.
Everyone wins.
Provided the battery works.
Yeah, and you get to kill Robert.
So, do we cut to Marlene next?
We get more Ellie at this point? Is that what you remember, huh?
No, we cut to Marlene, and we've got a bunch of the Fireflies work. The rest of the Fireflies are okay. What do we do next?
They keep saying like we need to do this, we need to do that.
Why
Marlene says,
they're
no.
questioning why are we hitting Fedra at these spots? This doesn't do anything. But then Marlene is like, okay, so if we hit them here, here, and here, and here, and we're here, where are they gonna be? Not here.
Right.
I don't want them here. Why do I not want them here? Because we're leaving. We're done with this. We've got a new goal. And she hands the person who was questioning her, she hands her a piece of paper, and she reads it, and then she's like, is this for real? And she's like, oh yeah, it's real. So then their new goal is whatever's written on that piece of paper.
Right. She's basically saying, don't question me. Just follow your orders.
Follow orders, which that sounds a lot like Fedra.
This is true. Also sounds a lot like Joel to Ellie later.
Yeah, Marlene and Joel are very similar characters.
And what's a fun fact about Marlene?
So, Marlene is played by Merle Dandridge, who also played Marlene in the game.
So this is our first case of a voice actor playing their same character from a non-live action thing into a live action thing?
For this, yes. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know if that's
I guess there's a lot of stuff
There's a lot of stuff. I don't know if that's...
I mean, I know I've seen it the other way around. You go from the Riddick movies to
sure. I'm trying to
game.
think. I'm sure there are things, right?
Right, but this is so far the only case that we know of where the voice actress is playing the same character.
Well, actually, it happened in The Witcher.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Season 1 or 2?
1 and 2. Huh. Characters in both.
Oh, I didn't catch that. We'll go over that in the Witcher pod.
But Merle Dandridge is more commonly known for video game people as playing Alex in Half-Life.
Yes. She's big time. It's a big get, I think.
It's a huge get.
It's massive. They do try to pepper the series, from what I know, with other voice actors from the property.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily playing the same characters, though. But we don't know if it's going to stay that way. There might be some other people.
I could see a certain person playing her character in the second season.
Which is going to follow the second game. Like
yeah.
They're trying to get through the entire first game of the first season?
It'll get through the first game in the first season.
Okay.
And then they said they're going to split the second one into...
While they wait for the third.
Well, they're going to be waiting a while.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so we know the Fireflies are shifting in their plans, and we are shifting along with them. What do we do after Marlene has this little talk?
Oh, in that talk... Well, no, she hasn't talked to Ellie yet, has she?
Gone back to Ellie yet, no.
What happens in between that?
They have to talk to her at some point, because when we get back to Joel, they go back out hunting, and then we have all the encounter, and then we run into and we realize that the Fireflies were intersected in that encounter. So, maybe she does.
For the purposes of this, she does.
Okay.
So she goes and talks to Ellie, slides her backpack. They start talking, and then it's established that Marlene is not Ellie's mother, but knew Ellie's mother.
Right.
And is the person who put her in the orphanage. Because we assume something happened to Ellie's mother, which we'll actually find out.
Oh, that we aren't ready to watch.
Now, you're not ready to watch, but I'm super hyped for it. Because we were talking about voice actors playing different characters. Ashley Johnson, who played Ellie in the game, will be playing Ellie's mother.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Marlene's trying to tell Ellie her importance, though, right here?
Yeah. Here is this where we learn that Ellie's immune?
I think.
They're like, show us your arm. Like, we see the scar on her arm where she had been infected, but it didn't proceed past anything.
Yeah, she was bit 3 weeks ago.
Escardo.
Or maybe not.
And
maybe it's not revealed till it's revealed to Joel and...
It's possible. Okay. We often fuck these things up. If you listen to our regular movie episodes, you know that, so bear with us. This happens in the episode.
It does happen in the episode, yeah. But and there's a name drop of a character because Marlene's talking to her, and I forget the context, but she's like, was Riley blah 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 blah, and Ellie does not have a positive reaction to the name drop of Riley.
Right.
And this is important for much later. This is important for tonight's episode.
That I find out later.
You will find out much later.
Mm-hmm.
You'll
Okay.
probably cry.
So what's after that? Are we at the point where Joel and Tess run?
Yes, so this is where Joel and Tess take a back-ass route to get to that building.
Which is important. We're finding out this is how they travel around cities and stuff in general.
They
There's
go
a lot of,
underground. Yeah.
you find different paths to get around, either encountering other humans
Going through
or
checkpoints.
infected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a sweet, like, hey, I know a way to get into his building to come through like a wall.
Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when Marlene runs into Joel, she immediately recognizes him, right?
Yes.
They have a history.
They have a history.
So she specifically has a history with Tommy.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Do they explicitly say that in the show, or is that something?
No, they kind of...
I don't know if they say it yet, but it's not really...
They do say at some point that Tommy is a Firefly.
Tommy was a Firefly, and she recruited him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
Joel's never been a Firefly,
No.
right?
But I'm sure he's helped Tommy just in general, but he's not trying to... Joel's not trying to save the world.
Correct.
He's just trying to get by. Tommy wants to save the world. They do meet up. They get through the door.
They find the battery, and what was that guy's name?
Robert?
Robert Charles.
Yeah, he's dead. There's been a firefight.
There's been a firefight.
Yeah, because they can't go through the door easily because there's a body laying in front of it.
Yeah, so the battery is no good. So Robert tried to sell the Fireflies the battery that he was supposed to sell to Tess.
And it was a dead battery.
And it was a dead battery, and they tried to tell him to fuck off. We don't want your shit battery. So I guess there was a firefight, and they killed each other.
Some of the Fireflies died. Robert's all dead. Marlene's been wounded. It's a decently bad wound, but you get the impression that if she gets care, she can survive.
And she tough.
But she definitely is in no position to do what she needs to do, which is get Ellie.
She wants to move Ellie west.
Joel and Tess don't know why yet, but Marlene says, if you get this girl...
They will give you
to
everything
the
that
lab.
you want.
Yeah, they will give you...
You want a truck, they'll give you a truck. You want guns, they'll give you guns.
Tess kind of has a quick sidebar with Joel, like, hey, the trucks they'll have will be these really nice
These are
trucks.
like stolen Fedra trucks, yeah.
Right, so like this could be the answer to our problems here, and we just have to take this kid? But then they're also like, why is this kid so valuable to you? And Ellie's being a shifty little kid there. Her pocket knife is...
She pulls it on Joel.
Yeah.
Keeps trying to go for the knife. Joel's like not having it. So interestingly, whenever Joel points his gun at Ellie, they point their gun at Joel and are like, "Don't point the gun at her. Point it at me."
Yeah.
So
like,
then when Joel points the gun at them, they lower their gun because they're not important. Right. Ellie is important.
Right. That's as we find out, she is. So they explain to her. Oh no, they don't. Joel and them don't know she's infected.
Yeah, Joel and them don't know. But I don't know if we know. Do we know?
Well, you and I.
Yeah.
I don't think I know at that point.
Kim doesn't know.
Okay, so no one knows.
I don't, unless they did show the arm earlier. Fuck.
I don't think they did, because at this point,
I mean, it's hinted at.
Yeah. Look, if you probably get the impression that there's something about her that makes her more important, so it's a logical jump to assume that there's something, the reason why they want her. So they don't know why, but they know that she's precious cargo. Tess says, let's just fucking do this. We get the sense that, Joel and Marlene have some history, because she definitely does recognize them, and she recognizes that Joel and Tessa are like go-getters.
These are two people that will get the job done, that are capable.
They will get shit done. And basically said, you get the girl there alive.
They'll give you one.
Whatever you want. That's the mission. Just go.
So they have to get her to the State House in the middle of Boston, where a group of Fireflies will then take her from there to where they need.
And remember, we're in the Boston quarantine zone, so it's all in Boston. This isn't going to be some big trip. Yeah,
This is just a day. This is just a day trip at this point.
A day trip. We are taking them through our tunnels and stuff that we know about across town, and then it's out of our hands, and we get exactly what we want. It's relatively easy, not necessarily safe, but easy do for them.
Yeah, for them. Yeah.
Yeah. So they, like, okay. Tess talks Joel into it. Let's do it. But they do say it was a fun little exchange. If she does something or another, if they don't give us the stuff,
we'll kill her.
We're going to kill her.
Yeah.
And Marlene's like, okay. And Ellie's like, what? Really? That quick? That was good. That was fun. So we get them bolting out of there, heading back to their place, where again Tess says, you stay here.
You stay here. I'm going to go find our best way out.
Yeah. So Joel's like, I'm gonna nap on the couch.
So here's our introduction to Bill and Frank.
Yes.
The radio.
With the radio and the code book. And also here's where I think there might be a mistake. Because on the little code slip, it says B/F, 60, nothing in, 70, new stack, or new stock, 80, bad news.
Yes.
So Ellie asks, who are Bill and Frank? But the paper doesn't say it. It just says BF.
Possible.
Just a little thing. Just a little thing.
Just a little something. Because look at you, guy.
So it's if a song from the 60s comes on, there's nothing in. Song from the 70s, they got new stock. And then if it's a song from 80s, that's bad news.
Yes. And then, do we actually hear a song play, or is
we
it just
do at the end of the episode.
End of the episode. Okay, so Joel's asleep. Ellie's left to her own devices because Joel's like, I don't care. Occupy yourself however you want. He wakes up, and she's like, oh, the song played. And he starts to panic.
And she's like, ah.
I said, yep, cracked the code. I knew that was a problem. Nothing played because she's going over there through the music book.
And he's about to, like, yell at her, but then Tess walks in.
Yeah, which like, uh-oh, gotta be nice, Dad, again. He is making it very clear he is begrudgingly doing this. I don't think he's comfortable caring for a kid again for obvious reasons.
Let alone a young girl the same age as the daughter that he left, because he's sad dad.
He's sad dad. Great dad bod, though.
Fantastic dad bod. I would say peak dad bod.
Peak dad bod.
Maybe Kratos is peak dad bod.
Yeah, that's dad god bod.
Dad god bod, yeah.
God dad bod.
Dad of war.
Dad of war. Yeah, dad god of war. So Tess has a plan. It's got a way out. Let's get our shit together. Get our backpacks. You got a flashlight? I got a flashlight.
Got a coat?
Got a coat. Put the coat on.
It's like making sure your kid puts their coat on before going outside.
Yeah, got your pack. Tie your shoes.
Pack?
Yeah, your pack. Got your light up shoes on. Let's go stomp these yards. Let's get out of here. So we find a way to slink out of the city.
They slink out of the city. That's right.
Yeah, slink.
And
slunk.
They're about out, but they get caught by a guard. Was he peeing? Is he having a little pee-pee?
Yeah, they're on the outside of the wall.
They just have to get through a fence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's a guard that's so the guard is not in his place because he went off to go pee.
Yeah, he's on a little pee-pee break.
And he freaks out and he turns around and lo and behold, who is it?
Who is it?
Soldier dude.
Our trading soldier dude.
That's right, it is Soldier Boy himself.
Yeah, he's still cranking that.
Is that what he wasn't peeing, he was cranking that?
Yeah, well, crank that Soldier Boy.
That's right. So it's the...
Watch me.
It's the soldier that Joel was dealing with earlier.
Does he immediately, like, want to shoot him, right?
Well, he pulls the gun up because he's startled.
Right.
Which immediately triggers Joel.
Well, it doesn't mean that doesn't immediately trigger him. He's like, I told you guys that tonight to stay in, and you are not where you're supposed to be, so we're going to do this by the book. So then he gets them...
he did warn him earlier.
He gets them all on their knees, and then he tests them. And as he's testing Ellie, she stabs him in the knee with her handy-dandy switchblade. And this escalates things, obviously.
Which maybe she shouldn't have weapons.
Maybe.
And then he points the gun at her.
And then he points the gun at her, And this causes Joel to have the flashback of the military man pointing the gun at Sarah. So then Joel goes berserk mode, and I'm pretty sure he beats him to death.
He punches him in the face until the guy is dead and his hand is broken.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't already bad enough that he had to protect Ellie as the precious cargo to go save his brother, but yes, on top of that, a soldier with the flashlight pointing at him and the kid. This is him.
Set him off.
This is his Andrew Garfield Spider-Man getting another chance to save Gwen.
He did it this time.
He's very violent about it.
Well, sometimes you got to.
And this is where they find out, Tess and Joel, this is where they find out that Ellie's, she tests positive
yes.
for cordyceps.
And so then Joel points the gun at...
Then Joel points the gun at Ellie.
Because he's like, no, this is an infection. Like, you don't... And Tess is like, hold on, what the fuck? What the fuck, Ellie? Why would they send us with an infected...
So then Ellie shows them the bite wound, and it's all healed over. She's like, this happened 3 weeks ago, and I'm fine.
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
I want to come back inside.
I would like to come back inside now.
And so now it's weighing on us, those of us who don't know, or didn't know, that, hey, this is someone who...
She immune?
Is she immune?
That could be important.
That might be important.
It's probably why the Fireflies are so interested.
Could be.
But
buzz off, cat.
But Joel and Tess, they don't have time to discuss this because they just murdered a Fedra guard, so they got it. Like it or not, they gotta go.
They're gonna discuss this later about what they're gonna do with the kid. They're just gonna get out of there. And is that the end of the episode?
So they go through the fence. You get a nice shot of the destroyed city at night, and then we cut to the apartment with the radio, and Depeche Mode, "Never Let Me Down Again" starts playing on the radio, which came out in 1987. Which means... Trouble. And that's the end of that episode.
Right, and I thought that was fun. I didn't think too much into the song other than, they're playing an 80s song.
To be honest, I didn't know if it was an 80s song or not.
I knew it was an 80s song.
I assumed that for the framework of a TV show that it would be an 80s song, but me personally, I didn't know.
I thought they were just using the code for us, the audience, saying like, "Oh, trouble has clearly just happened with our characters." I did not. Think
that wouldn't make sense.
Well, it was like,
I guess if the music hadn't been playing in the world.
Well, no one was around to hear it. It was,
but the radio literally turned on.
No, you're right. I didn't think about it, and obviously it paid off later.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I thought that was just for us. Like, yep, trouble's happening. I did a little shimmy. You guys couldn't see that, but trouble's happening. Hell of a start to a series. Good first episode. Again, like you said, they combined the first and second episode into this thing. It was kind of jarring how we just went from that first 39 minutes.
So I think the first episode probably end with the death of Sarah.
I think that would have been a good cut, but I have seen in other shows and stuff where it's an established series where they are working really hard to get all the characters in as soon as possible. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Because this gets a chance to be... They get to pick how long the episodes are.
Yeah, that's really important, yeah.
If they had to cram this into 30, 45 minutes, that would have been...
Because you've got episodes that are like an hour... How long was episode 3? That was like an hour and a half, right?
Right, and you got...
And then you've got some that are like 48.
I am very happy with that evolution of premium cable channel.
Let your story... Let the episode be as long as it takes to tell the story. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let it be let there be the amount of episodes you need to tell the story.
Right.
Like they started out with 10, then they're like, actually, we can get that down to 9.
Right.
Peanut agrees.
Buzz off, cat. Han, what was your thoughts on the first episode? Like, how were you feeling about the series?
I mean, I've said it before. I liked it, but I don't know. I kind of agree. It might have been a stop where I died, but
it would have been clean. Break.
I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
I think a less confident show would have.
Right, because the thing is, if they'd stopped there, that would have been a short episode. They could have stretched it out, but they managed to make us care about the characters in that brief amount of time. And I think it is good to get us moving along to end when the show is actually going to be taking place. You don't want to spend too much time in the past.
Because obviously that it frames Joel as a person, what happened in the past. But yeah, you don't need to spend a whole episode on it.
Right. It's important to show people and how they're progressing and see why they're acting the way they are in these certain things. And that's a big thing with episode 3 when we get to that. Some people out there are saying like that's a wasted episode. But
I
they
strong
don't get the
disagree.
point.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And it's okay to have contained stories that really
Like that one episode of Mythic Quest. Have you seen that one?
I've seen all. I haven't seen the newest season.
Not the newest season, but there's an episode I think in season 2
about the writer.
Well, that one too. That one's so there's actually 2 in Mythic Quest. There's the Rider one, but then there's also one that shows just like
that other game company.
The other game company, and it's just like
the studio of.
Yeah. It's just this.
Yeah.
A couple that started a game studio, and you like track them through it, and it's just a really good story.
Yeah, and that's great. You can show other things going on in this world. It's important for a lot of reasons. I guess we'll discuss that more when we do the 3rd episode. It's big important. I think
Big important.
Big important.
Huge.
Really good first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 2, we made it.
These episodes have names, but I didn't write them down.
Infected. The first one was something else. It was not also called Infected.
That would have been weird.
Really confusing. Mm-hmm. Episode 1 was called When You're Lost in the Dark.
The Firefly thing.
Episode 2,
Infected. Okay, so this one, you guys remember how this one starts?
So we have Ellie by herself off in the woods? No?
Incorrect.
Well, shit, that happens.
That does happen, but we start in 2003.
Oh, fuck.
In
yeah,
Jakarta,
time travel again.
Indonesia.
Oh, yeah.
We bring in
a lady is having lunch in a diner.
Ratna Pertiwi.
Played by Christine Hakim, who I know from what's probably my favorite martial arts movie, Marantau.
Not
Chocolat. She's not in Chocolat, but she is in Marantau.
No, I was just saying your favorite martial arts.
That's up there, but Marantau's a better movie.
Oh, she was in Eat, Pray, Love.
And she was in Eat, Pray, Love. Who could forget?
Well, I could, but I guess Kim could not, as I'm going down her list.
Anyway, some military guys come in, and they tell her to come with them. First they ask if she's whatever that name was that you said that I can't repeat. Are you Ratna Pertiwi, professor of mycology? That's
how I'm pronouncing
that. You? That you, dog? She's like, yeah, that me.
That me.
What up? What's good?
So
then they go with her, or she goes with them. They take her to a hospital, where
not because she's feeling
bad, but because they want her opinion on something. These are high-ranking military people. She's
got her full garb on, right?
When they put her in the room.
When she gets in the room with it. Before
right?
that, she looks at a specimen under a microscope, and she's like, "Why did you prepare it this way? This is not normally what you would do for when you're looking at a fungal thing."
Right, and the guy says that's how you prepare a human sample.
And then she looks at him like he's stupid.
Yeah,
because she says, "Dumbass, cordyceps cannot survive in human," and he just like,
yeah, like I know, but it did. I know that. You don't think I know about cordyceps?
I know everything there is to know about cordyceps.
I'm a fun guy.
He says that.
He literally says that.
He says it in English too, which confuses her.
It's very, very odd.
Weird. So then she puts on her full hazmat suit thingy-majigger and goes into a room with a corpse, and
hooks up to the oxygen.
And we see that this corpse has been shot in the head, which is rude. And he tells her that there's a bite mark on the ankle that you need to look at.
Right. So he goes over there, hooks up to the oxygen, kind of rolls the ankle over,
she slices into the ankle to separate the skin, and under the skin there's like fungus. It's gross.
It is gross.
And that ain't right.
Now, look, we already get like nail fungus.
Do we?
Well, as a people, I wouldn't be surprised if you got a toe thing going on with the state of your shoes sometimes.
I mean, isn't that what athlete's foot is? I mean, it's like a...
Well, you work around a lot of flour. Yeah, athlete's foot is like a fungus and a yeast infection.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, shit. Well, I used to get athlete's foot when I was, doing the gym. When I was an athlete.
Yeah, and the crotch rot.
I definitely get the crotch rot now, but...
Well, I'm just saying, there are funguses that don't get inside the body, but they can get under the nails.
Like, they live in and around the body, right?
Yeah.
But they can't survive in the body.
Yeah.
Until now. Well, until then, because in the past.
I remember when this happened. I was like a freshman in high school.
And you heard about this in your Jakarta newspaper that you subscribed to.
Like there was something that happened with the tricycloplots, and it got into someone. And it's real bad.
It's real bad, but they handled it.
It's a bad beat. They handled it.
So then she goes over to the mouth. I don't know why she goes over to the mouth.
It's so weird. It's like she knows. It's like, if there's a fungus in this human, I know exactly where it's gonna be. She takes the forceps, and just reaches straight into the mouth without even like looking in there, and just pulls up and gets a thing.
And then the tendrils reach out to her, and she's like, "Hey!"
Nope, unhooks herself and nopes the fuck out of there.
Fuck out.
So I thought that was weird too. Like, why do you immediately go there? Like, if they can live in other creatures, is that a thing where it would be like coming out of the mouth?
Well, normally they're like in
the
the brain, right?
Right. Like, that's yeah.
I don't know.
Why not go to the ear?
Yeah, why not the ear? Why not the butt?
I think no matter where she had gone, she would have gotten
something.
Well, I think tendrils coming out of the butt would have had a much more different reaction for the audience.
Would it have been a different rating?
Definitely.
I mean, it's HBO,
actually,
so...
That's the porno version, The Lust of Us.
Ooh.
Yeah. Trademark that. We got it, boys.
Cool. Coming to Steam soon.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God. I just pictured that whole series. And a certain audience that doesn't like this show would probably love that game. It's so bad. So she nopes the fuck out of there, rightfully so, and then starts talking to
couch.
Yeah, she's sitting on the couch. She's shook.
Literally shook.
Shook.
Then she starts like asking some questions to the general guy, like, how long ago did this happen? He's like, 30 hours ago. She's like, where? At a grain factory. It's like, do we know who bit her? No, but she bit 3 people. She attacked 4 people, bit 3 of them. And then due to, within an hour, they had to be put down because of procedure.
Yes.
Like, now, is there a procedure, a standard procedure already in place for if people, I don't know.
Not in this country.
Not you're saying not in this country, but Jakarta's on top of it?
Indonesia's
on top of it?
Soon to have a procedure set at that point.
Well, like at a grain factory, we have a procedure set up.
I don't think the grain factory people put them down. Like the supervisor came over.
Fucking Quaker Oats over here. Fucking, you sneezed? You know the procedure.
Maybe there's a procedure if like people go feral or something. I don't know.
You got rabies in my.
You gotta have
factory?
plans for everything, right?
Everything.
So basically, the person she looked at is, for all intents and purposes, this is patient 0 for the outbreak.
That they've seen and verified.
Yeah.
But she also asks how many people are missing.
And he's like, 14. 14.
Yeah.
14 people are missing from the factory.
The grain. It's like, oh shit.
And she's like, well,
what do we do?
And then he's like, what do we do? How do we cure this? And she's like, no, you don't.
Just bomb it.
Bomb the
There's
city.
no medicine. There's no vaccine. Boom. Bomb.
She says it in
bomb
English.
this city and bomb everybody in it.
Yep. I'd like to go be with my family now. So if that doesn't tell you the severity of the situation, which we obviously already know because we've been in the future, we know how it turns out.
We've already seen that they did, in fact, bomb the U.S. cities, too, so...
And
didn't work.
Didn't work. Now, as we were alluding to earlier, we were talking about the importance of flour. Mm-hmm. They do talk about it later. Joel explicitly explains to Ellie in the next episode.
Yeah, but we can say it
how
now.
The infection got started. So he basically says it was most likely in the flour is what they think, and you would eat it because a lot of the food and stuff in the world at that time would come from the same places. So the fungus had to have somehow, the strain had gotten into the flour, and that flour got into it got
all
sold
these
around
different
the world.
kinds of foods,
pancake mixes, like all that stuff. And so he goes through that stuff, and he specifically says, the pancake mix, and that's when Kim and I were both like, oh shit, the first episode, they didn't have the pancake mix. They didn't eat the neighbor's biscuits. He didn't pick up the cake. They don't touch a single thing that has like flour in it.
And you would have had to have been eating like a lot of it, probably.
Well, he says they would probably picked it up like on Thursday, because I think the infection still spread fast. But I don't think it was like you had to eat a lot of it over a week's period of time. I think he implied like it got to stores, people picked it up, and then maybe over the next...
Probably like 2 or 3 days, yeah. And if your immune system was weak, then it probably... And then for like those grain workers, they're working around it, so they're inhaling it, they're breathing it in, it's getting under their fingernails, it's getting everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a nice touch. You hear
and
that you go back to the first episode.
That is some context that is not given to you in the game.
Right. Well, we did in the game, again, we talked about like the spores and stuff. Like, we don't know how the first infection
we don't
happened,
know. Yeah, right, correct, yeah.
But we get a pretty good sense of how it could have easily spread with the spores. This was a great solution to avoid the spores and easily spread something around the world.
Yeah.
So I liked it. That was a solid change. And it made me want pancakes.
So then we wake up with Ellie.
Well,
hold on. I didn't wake up with Ellie.
Hold on there, bud. Yeah, so Ellie is much like she was when we first seen her in the room. She is isolated off to herself.
Yeah.
Because we're like, shit, she's infected. She wakes up, and Joel and Tess are staring at her.
Joel's got his gun pointed at her.
Yeah, Joel's still...
Joel doesn't trust it, yeah.
Yeah. Tess has a glimmer of hope, I guess, at this point. But she's not... Neither one of them is entirely convinced, though. That takes a little bit more convincing. They still keep the distance. Is this where they stop and they kind of chow down, too?
So, she goes pee-pee in a side room, and while she go pee-pee, Joel and Tess debate what to do with her. Are we gonna...
Right, and they're speculating why the Fireflies thought she was important. It's like, well, maybe this is real, and that's what they're trying to do. Like, maybe this girl is the key to righting a lot of these wrongs. And in either way, it's not our problem. If she turns, we kill her, but we get her there, we drop her off. It's not our problem. We get our truck. So, like, the mission is still the same.
Mission stays the same, yes.
Yeah. So, let's complete the mission.
All the while, Ellie's over there. Joel and Tess think that Ellie can't hear them. She comes back in. They find out she heard the whole thing happen. Tess said, he was going to kill you.
Yeah, if you turn at all, he will kill you. And then she does that little fake, like, and she's like, don't do that.
It's like,
yeah, like, you just got really close to just getting shot.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
And Tess says, me and Joel, we're not good people.
We're not.
You are cargo to us.
Right, and I fully believe that at this point. Because I think that's, I mean, they don't necessarily, like, want bad things to happen to her, but also...
there's no reason for...
Right, like, you don't make connections in this world because you're going to get hurt. So you try to avoid that. So if they don't have to get connected to this little girl, like, attached to this little girl, then you don't... Attachments is the better word. You don't get attached to her.
So...
You don't do it.
Right, and Ellie tells them that, from what she heard, there's a Firefly base camp out west with doctors working on a cure. And that's ultimately where she's going to end.
Right, which, if you think about it, how they experiment on things to get the cure out of things and stuff like that, that might not be such a great existence for her, but it would be potentially for the greater good, so that gets you a conundrum. We don't know how they're going to have to... That might be something important.
That might be important,
that people can think about.
Maybe mull that over. So here they're walking through the destroyed city. They're showing Ellie the big craters from the bombs that were dropped on the city.
Wait, did she get to eat her sandwich yet?
Oh yeah, she eats the food.
Yeah, they've got like this shitty little jerky or whatever, and then she pulls out this big fucking, looks like it came out of a deli like sandwich, and like, is that chicken? Like Tess is like, is that?
She's like, Marlene packed it for me or something like that.
But you know what's crazy about that? Why is she eating bread? I just thought of that right now.
What do you mean?
The whole thing started with contaminated flour. This thing can live in flour.
Well, it lived in that. It lived in that specific flour.
I don't know. I think this would be more of an Attack of the Killer Tomatoes movie.
You think at this point you just don't do flour anymore? You
just don't do flour. Like, they didn't do tomatoes. They put fucking peanut butter for their sauce and their pizza in that movie, which is also a serious take.
You don't think they might have grown their own, like, wheat or something?
You could also
I
do
think-
different kinds of flour that it wouldn't be able to grow in.
Yeah.
No, I think they would, but I do think the world itself would be hesitant to,
Yeah,
to
maybe,
do
yeah,
it.
maybe.
But for
I
a
didn't think about that.
post-apocalyptic world, that was a good-looking sandwich.
That's a good, yeah.
Yeah. It's fun little moments. And that's important because it does, again, build...
So
the
as
characters.
they're walking along towards the state house, here's where we get our first giraffe. Now you guys are probably confused because you don't remember a giraffe. So in the game, there's a motif of giraffes. There's like stuffed giraffes everywhere. At one point, there's a real giraffe, and it's supposed to represent something, and it does. And here's where we get our first one in the show. It is a little stuffed giraffe under like a blown up car.
Huh. I don't recall the giraffe bits.
It's a
but
big
it has
part.
been a decade.
They're all over the game.
Huh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And they're talking a bit as they're walking, and they're asking Ellie some questions. Like Tess asks her if she was alone when she was bit, and Ellie says yes.
That's a lie.
Is it? I mean, based
that's
on what you know, what the show has told you, is it a lie?
Well, didn't Marlene ask about Riley?
Marlene did ask about Riley, yes.
Riley. Like, wasn't right? Like, what happened to Riley?
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, that is implying that, I almost said Elsa. Ellie
Elsa
was with Riley when this happened.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't make that assumption. I would just assume that Ellie was with Riley, not necessarily at the time that Ellie was bit. So I wouldn't put the two together. I would from someone who's doesn't know anything.
Right. It's not a huge leap, but it's also not like an easy, like not a like, oh, you definitely need to put this together thing. So sure, but we've also established in the first episode that Ellie lies.
Ellie lies, yes.
A lot.
But she says, I was alone. And Tess also asks her if she has a mother or family or a boyfriend or anything waiting for her. And Ellie says no. And makes a weird face at the boyfriend comment.
Yeah. Like, nope, no family. No, definitely no boyfriend.
Definitely no boyfriend.
It's your boyfriend.
Is that your boyfriend?
It's weird Tess showing interest, though, because that seems like a break in established character that you're not supposed to be showing interest. Tess, why do you show interest all this
I think she's just making conversation as they walk.
You think? You don't think she's starting to care maybe a smidge, just on the off chance that maybe she slightly has hope? Like,
I think
it's tough to have hope.
She
in this
definitely
situation.
does have more hope than Joel.
Oh, for sure.
So maybe, yeah. So then they have to go through this flooded hotel where we get the highlight of the episode is a frog playing a piano.
Which was a mistake.
And some little duckies.
The duckies were never a mistake. Duckies were cute. Kim, I shouted, "Oh, ducks!" They popped on the screen, if you recall.
I also shouted, "Oh, ducks!"
Oh, duck! And they put them in there because, the writer and director, Neil Druckmann, it could have been Neil Duckman, and so they had to have ducks.
Oh.
I made that up. But then there's, a piano, and it's got a frog on it.
He's
Apparently
playing
there
it.
was supposed to be a bird that was on the piano that ate a fake frog, but the bird didn't cooperate. So then they just did a frog, and the frog did a jump, and it was adorable.
The frog did a great job.
Frog did a great jump. I like the bit where they decide they're going to have to walk across this flooded thing. I mean, Joel and Tess already knew they had to walk across the flooded lobby. Ellie, again, she's never been out of the quarantine zone, so all of this is new to her. Being outside, being in the woods, she's like, oh, there's more bugs than I thought. Seeing the city for the first time. And then going through this water. Like, Joel walks in there, and Ellie's like, we can't cross that. They're like, why? It's like, I can't swim. Well, obviously she hasn't had a chance she's been in the quarantine zone, but then Joel's just like hopping up and down. It's like, really? Like, it's barely past his knees.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, how was I supposed to know that?
So I thought this whole hotel bit felt very video gamey and not in a good way.
Like it was unnecessarily.
I had a comment as well that was somewhat about the nature of video games in real life.
Like, specifically the bit where Tess has to climb up the rubble to go around to open a door for them while they have to sit there and wait.
That 100%. I was just referring to the fact that in reality, at all costs, if you're out there trying to survive in the wilderness, you are not going to want to get your clothes, especially your footwear.
Yeah, they had no problem getting like their
wet.
Pants wet and their shoes wet.
And in games, you hop in
also,
the water.
Also, that water
would
be so dirty. You don't know.
For sure.
Well, do mushrooms like
dead
water?
Body over
there was a dead body.
Do fungus
in there,
like water?
Like...
Yep. Yeah. Now, fungus loves water. Ellie goes over and it's like she's all pumped up, getting to play hotel, ringing the thing, pushes a cart. There's a dead body floating there. She freaks out, falls down. Joel comes to her rescue. And that's the first bit of him, like, quickly reacting to trying to save her after she stumbles into some shit.
And then he kind of pulls back a little bit.
Yeah, like, oh, yeah.
But also because he touched her with his hurt hand. And
I think he was concerned about it being infected. And then, like you said, they get through that. And, yeah, they get to a section like, well, let's hoist you up there. Ellie's like, well, hoist me up there. It's like, no, you're staying back, you idiot. You're the cargo. Mm-hmm. And they hoist Tess in there because they can't get by, and Tess has to find a way. And, yeah, I agree. That is very video gamey.
I didn't like
it. Yeah, but that's very video gamey the same way that they separated Joel and Sarah from Tommy.
I didn't like that either, yeah.
It feels very weird. Now, how did you feel about that, hun, coming from a non-video game background?
I mean, it's... I don't really have...
You're just like, oh,
an opinion.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have been
like... When you guys say it's very video gamey, I don't really know what that means because I don't play video games.
They make these convoluted situations where you have to go a separate path when clearly you could all fit through that hole.
Oh, like the whole, like, Jack could have fit on the door of the Titanic.
Yeah, okay, Rose. Something like that, where, like, it doesn't make any real-life sense.
And specifically in The Last of Us, there's a lot of instances when you're playing it where that exact thing happens.
Right. Okay. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I don't notice that it is video gamey because I don't know what it's supposed to look like where they try to force
Right. Well, sometimes, a lot of times in the games, you'll have a secondary character and you'll hoist them up somewhere. Like, you're currently watching me play, like, God of War. He'll hoist his son up to go do something. He runs off and pulls a lever, and you're left on your character, so you don't know exactly what's going on over there. So we don't know what she's getting into, and we're forced to sit there and just wait. Yeah. But it's a chance to get Joel and Ellie together by themselves, which we get plenty of that later. So maybe
I think you could have had that just by having Tess, like, walk ahead of them.
Right, for sure. But they do get to have their little moment while Tess is doing that, and Daniel's disappointed in life. You get that, but this is the problem when something is really good. You do have to find things to nitpick if you're trying to dissect them.
This is probably the only episode where I have these problems.
We discussed the alley in the first episode.
Okay, yeah, but that's one thing. I have other things in this episode.
So you're saying of all the ones you've seen, this is maybe your least favorite episode?
Yeah, it is.
Well, of the three we've watched,
Yeah.
Sure. But that doesn't mean it's by no means
it's not bad. It's not bad.
It's not bad. This is all quality. So what's Joel and Ellie's little moment there? She's trying to ask questions about him.
They're kind of awkwardly getting to know each other. He doesn't really answer any questions. He just says pass.
He cuts her off. Yeah, he cuts her off after like one question.
Yeah.
Does she bring up the watch? Like, your watch is broken or something like that?
Yep.
Which we see he is wearing the watch.
He's wearing the watch, which no longer works, but he's keeping it on. So I think the watch is kind of a metaphor for Joel. So the watch stopped working after Sarah was shot, kind of like Joel stopped living after Sarah was shot, and he's just been surviving this whole time.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And he's carrying the watch and survivor skill.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And there's a mutant baby.
Now, okay, that came in the mutant baby put the rubble there.
Yeah.
To split it up.
Yeah, to piss me off.
Piss you off.
Yeah.
And obviously the mutant babies is following instructions from the new world
from the
order
new Goblin King.
Yeah. This is a pod deep cut, hun. So
I wouldn't even say it's a deep cut. You just listen to one episode.
Well, she's a big supporter spiritually.
Damn.
So again, Ellie is trying to have some sort of connection to people. Then Joel's still not having it. That's what we get out of that. So Tess,
he ain't ready.
Lo and behold, she pops up around a door to the left of them, like, "Hey, we can just go this way, guys." Which, okay, I get it why you're upset. Like, why didn't we try the door?
Well, I think they did, and it was blocked by something on the other side.
Oh, it was locked on the other side. She had to get the key with the heart on it.
Right.
That matched the keyhole with the heart on it.
She had to put the gemstones into the statue.
Right, and that's common mansion design.
Well, I mean, they're not in a mansion. They're in a hotel.
Well, it's, hotel, but it's designed by people who design mansions.
Same people.
That's what you do. Same.
Same frog goblin.
We get out onto the roof now, or a balcony high up, and we're looking across the city, and we see
some, like, a lot of infected kind of writhing on the ground in the streets like maggots.
Right, now Kim's thinking they're like reacting to the sunlight, because you're seeing clouds pass over, casting shadows and stuff.
It did look like that.
She thinks they're reacting in pain to the sunlight. I think they're like hunkering down in the shadow, but now that I think about how fungus actually reacts like mushrooms and whatnot, they prefer the darkness, so it's probably close to what she said.
Yeah, they like a lot of like moist, like dark,
dank even.
Yeah.
And that's when we get, is this when they first tell us that they're all interconnected?
Yes. Tess says that the fungus grows underground
for miles, sometimes.
Which fungus does.
Yes.
That's a thing that's real.
Fungus is real.
Fungi is real, and mile-long fungi is real as well.
And he can't hurt you.
Well. But anyway, if you step on a piece of fungus in one location, and there's infected elsewhere that are like touching that fungus, the fungus will communicate to them, and then they'll come swarm you.
See, and I think that's a little like, I don't like that.
It seems a little far-fetched, doesn't
because,
it?
What is it? When they're not actively chasing something, they just default and go over and just lean on some fungus?
I guess.
Or is... I like
but
to
like,
think
fungus
that
does talk to...
It does.
They do talk.
Fungus talk,
Fungus talk, man. So...
Do you think mushrooms are vegan?
I don't actually know what being vegan means, to be honest. If I'm honest, can I be honest? Me personally, I don't know what that means. It sounds pretentious.
I'll look it up. Because, look... All I'm saying is fungi sound very intelligent.
It is.
Yeah. Are fungi.
Like they can...
They say they're vegan friendly, but I don't know.
Fungi can get through like a rat maze. It'll grow through the maze and find the exit.
Sounds to me that they're more animal than plants.
Well, they're not really... They're kind of... they're their own thing. They're fungi.
Sounds like they're more fungi than anything else.
Yeah. They're the squids of the plants. You understand?
Oh, hyper intelligent, completely freaky.
Yeah.
Is this the part where I made mention of Vecna? You step on.
Yes.
Yeah, I was kind of like, same thing.
I said similar, but not completely. So I think in Stranger Things they implied like everything in that area was 100% tied back to like Vecna would do it. I think the show implied that there were clusters that were
there's not one hive mind.
It's just groups of hive.
Yeah.
Groups of, like, think of it like different beehives almost.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
So we've established whether I like exactly how it works or not.
That is a change from the games as well.
The interconnected thing?
Yeah.
Like you step on a...
At least I don't think that was a thing.
I don't remember that. I remember noise being an issue with the clickers.
Noise is a thing with the clickers, yeah.
I remember spores being a problem, but that's not a problem in the show. But I don't remember ever doing anything to attract massive herds of the non.
Yeah, I don't think you step on a fungus in one spot in the game and
have a bunch, which that'd be a cool thing. But if I'm being totally honest, I did not remember the basic infected. I only remembered the clickers.
The runners, yeah.
Yeah, I did not remember.
Well, I mean, the clickers are iconic, right?
Yeah, they are a fantastic little creature. I also didn't remember the bloaters, but I don't know if there'd be a thing in it because in their whole thing about blowing up and shooting spores.
There sure is. Huh. Ellie even mentions that she heard that was a thing.
Right, I think that's what reminded me. And I'm like, oh yeah, spore, because at first I didn't think anything of the lack of spores, but I was like, I don't think it was flour, but I couldn't remember what it was. Also, don't remember being mouthy tendrils.
That wasn't a thing. For good reason.
Again, it could have been a butthole.
If instead of coming up to her with his mouth, he came up and Jim carried her.
I was getting a look, but she's on board now, I can tell. Yeah. So, well, shit. That's gonna be a problem.
Okay,
There's
so
a fuck ton of infected.
They can't go that way. So now this was originally the long way that they were gonna take because the short way was too dangerous. But now this way is dangerous, so now they have to take the short way, which is to go through a museum where they know that previously they were infected inside of.
Right. So they approach the museum. The door is open,
ajar,
and there's blood. Fresh blood.
There's blood.
Now they look down. Joel looks at one of the vines, and then they say it looks dried out, and he hits it with his gun, which I think is a bold choice. Because what if it wasn't?
Well, I don't know. Would it react to a non-human, non-spongy thing touching it? Like, is it gonna react to like the butt of a gun touching it? Because it can't infect a gun, can it?
It can't. I don't know. They don't explicitly say, but the fact that he's banging on it like they bang and they wait. So I think it would. I think anything moves over it, it's going to imply that it's potentially alive. Will they waste a lot of time if like a stick?
Well, I also don't think that it can infect animals.
But why would that be? Because it's all about body temperature.
Because the temperature of a little ducky is different from a person, you know?
Yeah, but why wouldn't they be able to infect like a cold-blooded thing, like a turtle?
Well, they need I don't know.
They told us how hot they could get to.
Tell me how hot a turtle gets.
Hot as its lamp gets, probably.
We did see that frog. That's an amphibian, though, not a turtle.
Maybe just the adaptation got it to the perfect temperature for humans, and it still says fuck all to animals. It's like it's vegan, but humans don't count.
Yeah, okay.
In fact, it says right here, mushrooms are completely vegan friendly, so they wouldn't eat vegans. What? That's what it says when I googled are fungi vegan. It says they're vegan friendly. They're an ally to vegans.
Anyway,
moving on.
They go
he hits the thing. It's dry, so this is where we get like those things do die. They have an expiration date. It's
you gotta water them.
Right. It's not like a zombie that. Well, I guess a zombie would still have an expiration date because eventually the body will completely break down.
You would think that, wouldn't you? But
right. Well, yeah, but these things have a timeline before they burn out their host, and even the actual vines and stuff, if they're not getting a constant source of nutrition,
they will die.
They will die. So they can, just because a place is infected in the past, like contaminated, overgrown, doesn't mean it couldn't die out and be clear to go to. So I think that's. Important to note there.
Good note.
Good note. Great note.
So in the museum, on like the ground level, they discover a body that has been mauled by something.
And Ellie's like, I've been attacked by an infected. This isn't what that looks like.
And this makes Joel and Tess very nervous.
They clam up. They get quiet.
And then they're like, from now on, we are silent.
Not quiet.
Not quiet. Silent.
Silent.
Which means don't be doing no loud breathing.
Don't be stepping on shit.
Don't be stepping on glass or anything. Don't step.
Don't step. Hover.
What does Ellie say? And Joel has to remind her silent. She says something. Silent.
Yeah, she's still not
taking it seriously. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so they start working their way through the museum up some stairs.
There's a cool mushroom body pile where a bunch of bodies are all like fused together and like mushroom shit.
We're starting to see more of the further states of decay or like infection, but they're already like past,
they're
function.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of what's that movie with Nathan Fillion, the horror one?
Slither.
It kind of reminded me of Slither and all those people like jumping into the alien body thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. No, that's a great movie. Sure, I definitely get some Slither vibes from that.
Yeah.
What came out first?
Slither.
Yeah. You're welcome, Lassie.
That's right.
James Gunn's best movie.
So they're working their way up the stairs.
Someone does a step.
But
not gonna name names.
No big deal. Nothing bad happens.
That might be when he turns and he's like, shut up.
But anyway, up the stairs they go, through a little doorway. But then, more video game thing happened. Can't go back that way now because the doorway has collapsed.
Yes, they get in the room just in time for the ceiling to collapse and block their exit.
And then the clicking noise begins.
Which is if you know what's coming. So now
Joel and Tess are very on edge.
So they are sneaking through this room now.
They're sneaking through the room, and Joel kind of mouths to Ellie, because two freaky deaky looking guys start patrolling the room, making clicky noises, and they got their heads are like half exploded out into like mushroom tips. It's a weird.
I'm sorry, they're
mushroom tips.
They've exposed their mushroom tips.
They've exposed their mushroom tips to this young girl,
which is not cool. Yeah, so we always tell you guys to watch these things before you listen, otherwise all this will get spoiled. So it's tough to describe how just
if you go off of my description, they got penis heads.
Yeah, they're a bunch of dickheads with dickheads with teeth.
Yeah,
I've seen that movie too. They're like these. Think of like I was about to describe it. It's going to come out like a vagina. Shit. Just these
they're kind of
exploded
broccoli,
open, like flowering open
cauliflower.
Heads, more like a fungal type thing.
Yeah.
Hey, it almost looks like a tortoise penis.
Oh God! Look up a tortoise penis.
I will not.
Think this later. It looks like an alien creature. But their faces are like it's like okay, half their head's gone. Like this clearly.
So importantly, their eyes
zombies.
are gone.
Their eyes are gone. But also, to me, it also says like there's no brains. A headshot's not going to kill them. This is not a zombie. Just to be clear, these are not zombies. That is not how you kill them.
I think I asked you too at some point. I was like, okay, so what do you do to kill them? Like, what do you have to do? And I think we just kind of agreed that it was just however many times.
A headshot would work, but you have to blow off like the mushroom part of the head first.
Okay.
Right. So it's not just a shot to the brain. It's you
have to do the back of the head is still there. It's just like the front half that's all fucked up.
Right.
Right. Oh, those creatures, and they did such a good... How happy were you with how those translated to film?
I mean, it's 1-to-1. They just did it.
And how much of that do you think was practical?
I think it was probably all practical, and then you add some like CG goo or whatever.
Yeah, so according to some of the trivia and whatnot on the IMDb, they said the acting for this portion wasn't too hard for the lead because they were so astounded by the
prosthetics.
The prosthetics and stuff. Like, they looked so good and so freaking creepy that, yeah, they were genuinely terrified by the creature designs. And good. I like that.
Good.
So, good practical effects. The clickers translated beautifully to the screen. And honestly, at this point, like, I'm very happy. These are so good.
So, Ellie breathes too loud. She's a goddamn mouth breather. So the clickers hear them, and then they get into this little scuffle where our party gets split up. Everyone kind of has to take on a clicker by themselves. Tess gets one. Joel runs off with one, and they're fighting. He unloaded like the AR into its chest, and like nothing happened.
Yeah, that's like uh-oh. Now the clickers are more powerful.
Yeah.
And so, despite the fact that they cannot see, they're completely reliant on their sense of sound.
They have echolocation. Yeah.
They are much more dangerous than the standard infected. Mm-hmm. Because they are just because
at this point, there's no human left.
Right, that's kind of what we're supposed to get, but I don't really feel human left with the initial infected run around too. Like the runners.
So I think the runners still have human limitation because like the fungus hasn't completely like replaced 100% of all the muscle, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas with this, I think it has.
So these things are literally stronger than any human can be, and that's what it's got to be.
Yeah.
So that's why these are much more terrifying. Because they all come at you with reckless abandon, but these things are relentless.
They're angry.
Nonstop. Yeah. Why wouldn't you be? You got a dickhead.
If I had a dickhead, yeah.
Gosh. So it's a very tense little scene. What were you thinking while this is all going on? Like, what do you think of those creatures? Everything.
I mean, they're terrifying. I would not want to run into one of those.
No one wants to see a dickhead. Joel has his skirmish after shooting the one a bunch of times. Tess is off fighting hers. We don't really see a lot of her action, right? Ellie is crouched, trying to sneakily walk around one of the display cases, right?
This reminded me the most of the game because Joel is crouched near her, and then he starts walking in a direction, and she's like right behind him walking, and that's like 100% the game. You're stealthing through, and she's just following you.
And he mimes to her because he doesn't make a noise. He points like they can't see, they can hear very well. Like be quiet.
And then he immediately steps on glass.
Yeah. I like that they gave us subtitles though for his like message to her.
Yeah, they
like,
did.
Yeah, she can understand what he's saying, but clearly we can't. I guess. Yeah. So then, of course, they get chased again because he stepped on glass.
So he drops one, and then the other one shows up and is struggling with Ellie, I think. And then Tess comes out of nowhere with like an axe and like axes it a question to the head. And then they shoot that one, and then they're all dead, and the victory music plays.
Her coming out of the side, though, and smacking it with the axe, like just whap, and it just drops, like, oh, man.
This is where Ellie gets bit, right?
Yes.
So we find out, well, yeah, they've killed all the ones there, and they escape out onto the roof through a window, and they look, and they see her arm all bloody, and she says...
No, would have been
like,
me, huh?
She's like, son of a bitch! She's like, well... If it had to be one of us, I guess.
Yep, if it had to be one of us.
One.
Now,
of us.
at this point, you can see blood on Tess's jacket.
Can
yes.
you?
I missed that.
I missed that too. Joel, again, as soon as he sees she's bit, is ready to shoot her. He's still not believing.
I think he forgot.
Yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry, everybody. I think he didn't see her get bit. For all he knows, that could be some other infection on her arm. Like, because they have no frame of reference to look and see it's someone who was infected and it stopped. That's kind of my thoughts. So seeing is believing. Okay?
Seeing yeah.
So she's bit again, but she's immune.
And Tess has a sprained ankle, and Joel is like helping her tape it up, and she kind of gets snippy with him.
Yeah, she's real short with him. She's like, I can do it myself. Go over there with the girl.
I wonder if that's like one of the first, because I mean, moodiness was one of the first symptoms of being infected, right?
True.
When the twitching, the moodiness,
True. That could be it, and it could also just be the case of she knows she's dead.
She knows she's dead, and she's just kind of working through that.
Yeah.
Like shit. There's no anything.
Like just save the girl. Don't focus on me. Go and do whatever you need her.
Right, and we 100% get completely to that later. It's also got to be very bittersweet to her. Now thinking like the cure is possibly right here, yet I just got bit. There's no time. Like, god damn it, I missed it.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
So I'm having a doozy of a day.
I'm having a doozy of a day.
And again,
Officer, we've had a doozy of a day.
Clickers just be killing themselves all over our property.
Keep coming onto our property.
So they walk over this plank to the other building.
Yeah, they have just a wooden plank that goes from one building to the other, and Joel's like, oh, be careful, and Ellie's like, it's just wood, and she just nonchalantly just walks casually over this high gap, over two boards, and I'm like, I would be like, oh god, but Ellie's a badass. And he's like, yeah, this fucking kid. And that's when him and Tess have the tense moment where he's trying to wrap her ankle, which is like the same health kit from the game, if I recall.
Maybe.
Like, it's like duct tape or something.
Yeah.
Like they heal the wounds. She's like, yeah, go over there. I'll handle this. And I'm just like, you're hobbled now. You really want to walk across the boards by yourself all limpy? But whatever. I'm just like, why are you so mad, man?
Why are you mad? Why are you
mad?
Why you have to be mad?
Why are you mad? So we get across to the other side.
So then we arrive at the State House. There's a vehicle with some blood on it. They open it up. There's no fireflies in sight, which is suspicious because there's supposed to be fireflies here. So then there's a blood trail leading. There's a dead body outside, and then there's blood leading inside. So they follow it inside, and they see all the fireflies are dead because one of them had gotten infected, and then it was the uninfected versus the infected, and they all ended up losing, and they're all dead now.
Right.
Which sucks because now who's gonna pay us for bringing Ellie? Like, we went through all this work to get her over here, across town.
And I guess the truck was like shot up, right? So they can't use that.
On fire.
Because they found a dead person in it as well. Or,
yeah.
No, yeah.
He was around it. So in the game, it is not infected that kill the fireflies. It is Fedra that kills the fireflies. And then Fedra shows back up once Joel and Tess are there, or Joel, Tess, and Ellie are there. So it's so instead of having this infected horde fight them, it's Joel, Tess, and Ellie versus Fedra.
Right.
Which
but instead,
I prefer.
I think that makes more sense because these are survivors. They should know how to deal with infected and shit by now, right?
You would think.
And you think they'd be pretty quick to shoot some, like no one's going to come back and jeopardize the whole mission because they got bit and they're like, well, I'm just going to go back. Like, no, they're going to know they're going to infect. They're going to be dead in 24 hours. What's the point?
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, I'm dead. So, no, I agree. The Fedra actually showing up and killing them all makes more sense because this makes them look amateurish.
Yeah, and with the game way, you also don't get this weird kiss thing.
Okay, so we...
Between the weird kid Tess, the infected.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're inside there. They're all dead, whether we like how that happened or not. We step on something? We step on a vine?
One of the infected guys is basically turning and getting back up. Joel shoots him, and as it turns out, he's lying on a bed of fungus, which then tells the infected down the road, yo, it's feeding time.
Yeah.
So then they come running.
So Joel's like, we've got seconds, man. He peeks out the front door, sees that massive horde from earlier, I'm assuming, heading their way.
Mm-hmm.
And they shut the door, like, okay, we got to get out of here. Grab what you can. And Tess is like, nah.
No, I'm staying.
You have to save her. And then that's when Ellie's like, she's infected. And Joel's like, what? Show me.
Yep.
And she pulls down, and she has the bite.
Got a little bite on her little neck area.
Yeah.
Got Dracula.
So she's like, nope. She looks at Joel, like, save who you can save. Right what's wrong. Get her to Bill and Frank. I'm going to buy you time. I'm going to stop them. So she starts knocking over the massive cans of gas.
So in the game, this is where Tommy comes into play. In the game, she tells him to get her to Tommy because Tommy knows where fireflies are. Mm-hmm. Versus here, the goal was originally to go to Tommy, and now she's telling him to go to Bill and Frank and just drop her off.
Yeah.
Little differences.
Yeah, I'm okay with it because we're already trying to get to Tommy. Mm-hmm. So it's and I already talked with you about it briefly. Like I vaguely recall how we actually met Bill.
Oh yeah, that whole thing's very different. Very different.
Yeah, I like what we did here.
This is better. But I don't like the kiss.
So so Joel eventually, puts on his big boy pants and realizes, yeah, shit, Tess is gone. She's right. Tess is saying, look at her arm where she just got bit. Look where I got bit. See how I'm clearly turning.
And she's already shaking.
She's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, this is the proof in the pudding. Like, she's not getting infected, Joel. She is immune. For some fucking reason, she is immune. She is the chance. We can cure this. This is the chance to save the world. Like, you go do this. I want this to happen. Like, don't let me die for...
You do this for me.
Yeah, because she said, that's not my home.
Yeah, that's not my home.
That's not my home. Like, let's go back home. That's not my home. So, yeah. They run out of there. She knocks over the gas. She's got her Zippo, which our trusty Zippo, and every time this happens in a movie, it never fucking works.
When you want it to
work.
That's not
Which
good.
is weird.
That's not good marketing for Zippo, really.
It's not, because Zippos are very reliable lighters.
Well, this one's like 30 years old, right?
As long as they're easy to maintain. I mean, keep a good flint in there, keep fuel in it. So she's sitting there trying to spark it up. They get in there. Lighter's not sparking up. She just stands there and like waits for it to come. I don't know why she waited there. She could have been like running around trying to spark it up, not getting.
Oh, she's waiting for Prince Charming.
Yeah, so a couple of them run through. I feel like some of them get through before she blows it up because they're going pretty quick, and it's a while before she gets that thing to take off.
Yeah, it's a big building though.
That's true. So it walks over to her. She stands there and takes it, still trying to flip the lighter. It opens its mouth, not its butthole, and presses it up to her.
Well, hold on. We didn't see its butthole. We don't know that the butthole is closed. He could have done both.
He could have done. You gotta plan for both ends. Slowly puts his face near her, and those tendrils that we seen that the doc pulled out of the potential patient zero earlier are reaching out into Tess's mouth and getting in it. Now, they don't ever tell us, we never get enough information. I'm of the mind thinking she's already infected, so they're not even going to waste their time with doing that.
Yeah, I was confused about that. I was like, she's already bit. Why would they waste time to...
Right, but if they want to argue and say, well, the infection's not far enough along for it to communicate...
I mean, I would say that is the case, and she's, like, infected enough to where it doesn't have to, like, force itself, because it can sense she's infected. So he's not worried about her running away, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't work for me.
It's very awkward.
It don't work for me.
Daniel doesn't like it.
He don't like kissing.
I don't like kissing.
He would have been okay with the butthole.
Now, butt kisses, that's a different beast. Well, not ass. I'm talking butt to butt.
Oh, I was talking butt to mouth. You're talking butt to butt?
I was talking butt to butt. Like a butt smooch.
Yeah. Okay.
The most intimate of...
Look, if you're a Siamese twin and you're connected at the hip and you got no butt hole.
Yeah, you're a cat dog.
Why wouldn't you have a butthole?
Because
everybody got a butthole.
You work so hard, he did not have to pee or poop. So that's very awkward. But she's flipping it. Eventually, she gets it lit, and we cut to outside with Joel and Ellie are a good ways away now.
And the building's in the background. It blows up.
And then...
That's the end of the episode. That's it.
the end of the episode.
Yeah, that's it.
Kim did not cry when Tess died.
See, in the game, Tess goes out like a badass because Fedra's like breaking into the museum, and she's like, "I'm gonna hold them off and give you guys some time to get out of here."
Is she infected in the game?
Yeah, she's infected in the game.
Okay.
Yeah, that's weird that I didn't cry for her because I've spent more time watching Tess first and second episode than Sarah in just like the first 39 minutes. I don't know why.
I think that plays into the same reason like we didn't cry in the next and that like you grew attached to that little girl. That little girl isn't too far off from the age of one of our little girls.
Maybe.
I don't have no kids. I cried.
Well, did you cry when Tess died?
No. Well, maybe.
Tess was also like a little more of a hard ass. Like she died like going out like
with like dignity and
like this wasn't. I mean, it's a tragedy.
She didn't die with dignity. She was getting butt kissed.
Butt kissed, but she died for a purpose.
Like
it's not that we didn't care about Tess, or not that I didn't. Like I cared about Tess. I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah, but I would feel like. Because she died with a purpose, that I feel like that would endear her more. And I should have cried for her, but I didn't.
You could.
So
I think the game just handles it better because you don't see her die, you just hear her in a shootout, and then you hear her scream, and then you hear the soldiers reacting to killing her. You don't see it.
And the soldiers never react to the butt stuff.
They didn't react to the butt stuff at all. Yeah.
Well. I mean, of the first 3 episodes that we've watched, I agree. That's the least strong.
I will say, of everything I've seen, this is the weakest episode. So from here, it's all good.
I will say, though, to me, this whole second episode really felt like we just should have been just straight up attached to that second half of the first episode.
I do think, yes, it should have.
So it's like they chopped off the head of the second episode to combine with a short first, and then the second episode felt not as much happened.
The only thing, there's really only one thing that happens, and that's Tess dying, right? Tess dying, and them and them discovering that the Fireflies, they're dead, and now Joel has to take the Ellie,
and literally seeing Ellie not get.
Well, this is more of an introduction. Like, for you guys, you guys have watched, or you guys have the games and whatnot, but for me, like, this was the second episode kind of like a... Because I don't know what a clicker is. I
guess it's more of an introduction to the world, right?
Because I don't know anything about... I didn't know that there were different... Just that were infected, and then I see old dickheads running around, and...
Dickheads and assholes!
So now I know... Yeah, I kind of just feel like this episode, for someone who doesn't know the game and whatnot, I just kind of feel like the introduction, the outside world, outside of... I don't know.
It's a good point. I guess it's really introducing more important characters, those characters being the world itself... The creatures we're going to have to be interacting with, more the just global or world players, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. See, that's why we keep you around.
Mm-hmm.
So those are important things. Those will come into play. And then obviously she said, go take them to Bill and Frank. So now we know Bill and Frank is a thing. The B&F, even though, like Daniel said, they potentially spoiled it earlier when it just said B&F. It could have been written somewhere else in there, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't know.
They done good.
Yeah.
Ellie had actually played the game.
That doesn't make sense.
It's fine. Yeah, so to me, the first and second episode, that's a good reason we recorded them together, because I feel like they really are just one fucking thing. Like, this would have been a thing where you release both episodes at once and let people watch them, I think.
Mm-hmm. Because now, I would say now we're moving into what the show is, but we're not.
We're not.
Oh, we're not there yet?
Well, because we jump into that next episode.
Because the next episode is its own thing.
Own isolated thing. So, I mean, we get that Ellie and Joel are going to be now set up to go trek across the country, but then we're not getting that to do that yet. We're getting still their setup stage.
Right.
But we're just getting more
world
information.
More world building, which, again, that's what Naughty Dog does well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was some complaints. I think even Stephen King himself complained about one of the shots outside of Boston where it's showing like this mountainous area.
Oh.
And like, yeah, that does not exist.
Yeah.
In this area.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff is funny. But again, that's the kind of nitpicking you get when a show is, in general, really good, I think. You get those silly little tidbits.
Mm-hmm. And in a weird, unfortunate kind of coinky-dinky thing that seems to always happen, Tessa's actress ended up dying a week after this aired from cancer.
They had the in memoriam at the start of the third episode. That was the actress, yeah. You were like, who is that? And I'm like, I'm not sure. I didn't even look. Well, that
sucks.
That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said.
Huh. So was this her last thing?
Well, I mean, this was that video game actress.
Oh, not the TV
actress. Not the Anna Torv is very much still alive.
Okay, I was going to say, because I didn't think that looked like her. That's why I was like, we really didn't recognize her after we just saw her?
Annie Wershing? It's either a G or an S. My handwriting, not so good.
Annie Wershing.
Okay, it's a G, yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yep, just one of those weird quinky dinks.
Yeah, damn. She also played the Borg Queen on Star Trek Picard. Huh. Well, that's sad. It's a sad show and a sad life. Damn.
Damn!
Well, damn.
Damn!
Let's not end this on a downer. Let's go back to dickheads and assholes.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's going to be a lot of gut punch episodes where we end on downers, because you and I know a lot of buckle up. We are not in for a easy ride. There are some highs. There are some lows.
It's not sailing.
But I've been promised a giraffe, so...
And going through the trivia, they mentioned the giraffe that you talked about as well.
There you go.
They also said that the lighter in that scene with Tess Statehouse, that was from...
It was modeled after the Uncharted lighter.
Yeah.
That...
file that under don't care for me.
It's a weird thing. I bet there's going to be a lot of just random Naughty Dog references, which I'd rather just have.
At one point, Joel does a half tuck of his shirt.
Oh, sick.
Much like Nate Drake does.
Sick half tuck. Yeah, no, this is good. This is great. We'll talk about the third episode when we are ready to talk about the third episode.
Mm-hmm.
But,
next time.
This hell of a start.
It's solid.
Like, Kim's hooked. She's not big into spooky things, so she gets spooked. But
I don't think this is that spooky.
I think there will be tense moments. I think I want them to go ahead and do a jump scare or two, because I think they're fun.
This is more emotional damage.
Yeah.
What was that?
Do something weird back there?
That
The house
wasn't
is
me.
fucking haunted. It wasn't me. We heard a noise. I don't know if you heard it.
I heard like a phone noise.
That's what it sounded like, but my phone's on silent.
My phone's on silent too.
Kim's is on silent. I think Peanut fucked with a toy over the cat, trying to get in the action.
Emotional damage.
It's dark, it's depressing, but it's uplifting, builds you up. It's good. You're gonna care. You're gonna cry. We're gonna cry. and we're going to cry. But it feels good to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. Don't be afraid to shed tears.
Don't be afraid to cry in front of Jason.
Yeah, just...
Don't be afraid to do that.
I'm going to text Jason right now and tell him, hey, it's okay to cry, buddy. So, do we have any more thoughts on these first 2 episodes before we wrap up this episode ourselves? Oh, so let's think about all the horrible things we said here tonight and how we suck at describing things.
Mm-hmm.
As we turned things that are mushrooms that weren't looking like dick-shaped mushrooms ended up still turning back into dick-shaped.
I didn't say dick-shaped.
I mean, you didn't.
I said
not describe a dick.
I said mushroom tip.
Don't say tip.
Why?
Just the tip. Piano Frog was a real one.
He's not dead.
Well, he followed them and he didn't get out of the building in time.
Ellie secretly put him in Tessa's backpack, so yeah, he's dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Well.
Tune in next week for episode 3. A long time. Is that what it's called? Or is that just the name of the song?
3 and 4?
No,
just
we're doing
3.
3 just by itself. It's a longer episode.
Is that the one that's like an hour?
It is, long time, and it's an hour and 16 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully tune in next week for our look at just episode 3. Bring your tissues and your lotion if you're into
if you're into big bearded men.
If you're scared of bears.
If you're scared of bears, stay away.
Stay away. We are very bear positive here. So, as always, I've been your ass-to-mouth host, Kenny.
I've been your piano-playing little frogman, Daniel.
I'm Kim.
Just Kim.
Just Kim.
And we'll see you next time, fun guys and gals.
Ooh.